that I welcome this kind of examination, because people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook. Well, I'm not.
Is it just me, everybody, or does when Joe's like holding Hillary like that, it totally looks like he's like, "Where's my kiss, bitch?" Anyway, with that being said, I'm Money Mike. Welcome to the American Idiots podcast on a nice and snow-filled day here in the state of Arkansas. Of course, it's President's Day, but yeah, we got a nice little round of topics to go over. I think you guys are really going to enjoy my American Idiot of the Week this week. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and start bringing folks on. We'll start off with the Manic Hispanic, seeing as how Sean looks like he's hiding from us.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
How
Sean hiding from an argument.
everybody doing this week?
Brother, I am cold. I don't know about
very
you.
cold.
I know you were talking about a fire earlier.
Yes, we got to go sledding. We've had a fire the past 2 days. It's been real nice.
Did you get out and go to the hardware store like we were talking about?
I didn't even try. Once we went out to try to sled today, and because it was so powdery, we couldn't sled today. Yesterday was great because it was mainly ice that fell early on.
Right.
So there was a nice slick sheet covering the roads, so we were able to get the sled out. My 4-year-old had a blast doing that. But yeah, today it was so powdery that the sled just dug in and it wasn't going anywhere.
Right. Absolutely. Well, with that being said, a man who got an extra day off of work today, Mr. Black Sheep, joining us. How you doing today, Black Sheep?
Dude, I'm doing great. Happy President's Day, by the way. That's all I got to say about that. Yeah, welcome to Blizzard 2021.
Snowpocalypse.
Snowpocalypse, man, this is crazy. I haven't seen snow like this in Arkansas my entire life.
Really?
I've seen it snow, but it usually has a lot of sleet mixed with it, a lot of ice. This is like really nice powdery snow. You can actually get out and play in it. It's great. Yeah.
I know Manny down where he is going to get a little bit more, but we're projected to get another 5 to 8 inches tomorrow night.
Right. And you're used to getting 5 to 8 inches every night. So, but here in Arkansas, we never
inappropriate.
Right.
I need a button that I can press.
Are you not able
just
to
mute Sean? And a little hand with a stamp, inappropriate, over his screen.
Ooh la la.
Or hold on. Even better, because one of the topics we're going to go over tonight, canceled.
Right. That's it.
Okay, gentlemen. Well, let's go ahead and get into our topics. Trump has defeated impeachment a second time. And in other news, the sky is blue. And like I said in the group chat, it was a waste of fucking time. But we do have this story from USA Today before we get into it.
The yeas are 57. The nays are 43. 2/3 of the senators present not having voted guilty. The Senate judges that the respondent, Donald John Trump, former President of the United States, is not guilty as charged in the article of impeachment. The presiding officer directs judgment to be entered in accordance with the judgment of the Senate as follows. The Senate, having tried Donald John Trump former President of the United States upon one article of impeachment exhibited against him by the House of Representatives, and two-thirds of the senators present not having found him guilty of the charge contained therein, it is therefore ordered and adjudged that the said Donald John Trump be, and he is hereby acquitted of the charge in said article.
So, I mean, the argument that because President Trump has left office, he shouldn't be impeached for conduct committed while he was in office doesn't make sense. I mean, why would the Constitution include the impeachment power at all if the criminal justice system serves as a suitable alternative once a president leaves office? It wouldn't. Impeachment is a remedy separate and apart from the criminal justice system, and for good reason. The presidency, I mean, it comes with special powers, extraordinary powers, not bestowed on ordinary citizens.
The court clearly directed all to know that elected officials hold the highest protections of speech, the highest protections. They know they cannot satisfy the existing constitutional standard set forth by the United States Supreme Court that has existed for more than half a century.
Hey, thanks for watching.
So, first off, I'm going to say, Leahy, please don't ever make a statement that long ever again. I almost fell asleep.
So, I mean, this goes back. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, this goes back to we need to not let people that are over the age of 65 run for office.
I mean, that dude was looking like the crypt keeper.
It's like, no, man, there needs to be a cutoff score, cutoff age, something like that. At 55, nobody over the age of 55 needs to run for office anymore. It's stupid. Yeah, because just go retire, go enjoy your life, or die. Either one, I don't care.
Definitely sounded like he had been sipping on some NyQuil.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, by the way, this is for you, Mike. Anytime you want to, go ahead and, mute me or whatever, I'm just going to do this for you.
There we go. There we go.
All right.
Okay, so Dina says, just tuning in. Wasn't that some shit, though? Didn't surprise me at all, Trump being acquitted. It's all about saving face in politics with the Republicans. I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say this much. If you couldn't get it done in the 8 days before he left office, you wasted our time for the past week. You could have gotten a COVID relief bill passed through in that time.
Right.
You're wasting time.
No, I agree. I agree with that. This whole let's impeach him and try to keep him from running for president again and all this bullshit. I mean, the dude's out of office. Okay, let's move on. Business as usual. Let's get some stuff done. Oh, wait, not business as usual. Let's at least try to get like the COVID bill, like you said, let's get something done. Focusing on Trump, he's gone.
There was ways to go about preventing him from running in 2024 without impeachment.
I don't want you to do that, because if you do, you set a precedent that you can stop anybody from running, and I don't want that to happen. If he gets elected as president again, we deserve it.
Touche.
We get what we deserve.
Touche. Manny?
The impeachment, according to what I'm reading, suspends the power of the president, and the Constitution Court decides whether or not that he should be removed from office. Mm-hmm. He was already out of office, and he had no power.
Right.
What was the point of going through an impeachment?
Because there are provisions in the impeachment that would stop him from running again.
Basically, he would be a felon.
But it's still, I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, even the way the gentleman at the beginning of that video started that, saying, why would they have included it? They included it as a way to remove somebody from power if they were abusing that power.
Right.
Not as a way to try to get you after you're gone.
Right, exactly. And I mean, once again, we can debate all day, every day, going back and looking at Trump's speech. I'll say this much again. I don't think I agree with what Sean, that dude said.
This guy over here.
What Sean said when he said this much. He said Trump was very calculated in what he said because he knew it would come back to bite him in the ass. And I don't think he said anything purposefully to incite the riot. Rudy Giuliani, on the other hand, completely fucked Donald Trump.
Well, no. I'm not trying to say that Trump didn't, incite the riot. I think he invited the people there. He fired them all up. He got them ready. Hey, let's go to the Capitol, and then he went and hid.
He didn't say that though. I think Rudy said that part.
But no. Trump did say, "Now let's march to the Capitol."
He said, "Let's march to the Capitol. I'll be with you," and he didn't go. And they thought, "Oh wow, our leader's with us. Let's go and fuck shit up." And that's why they went down there. He did incite a riot. It wasn't insurrection. It wasn't a coup. He just incited mob rule, and they went in there. They fucked shit up. Once they got in there, they're smearing shit on the walls. They kind of lost their minds.
I don't think that he was inciting the riot to incite a riot. He wanted them down there. I'm sure he didn't mind them being disorderly, but I don't think he really thought they were going to go busting doors in and climbing through windows.
Because he's an idiot. That's the thing. Because he is as stupid as he is, he really thought they would just go there and, chant Kumbaya and we love Trump and all this and that. And, we don't want our great leader to go. And, that's what he thought would happen. But they went in there and, hurt people. And he didn't expect that. And, he could have faced a lot of problems. But unfortunately, he's a rich white guy, so he's going to get away with it.
I mean, I think we all three agree, though, to be honest. This was a waste of not only our time, but our money.
Yes.
By any stretch of the imagination, so much more could have been done. Biden could have, and that's the beautiful thing about what Biden did. And I've thought about this over the weekend after, the announcement came out that he had defeated impeachment again. I was like, Biden was actually smart the way he played this. He has not touched anything to do with this impeachment since he got in office.
Right.
That's smart.
That is smart.
It didn't look like he had a vendetta.
Right. Hey, in between segments that we do tonight, I want you to play the intros to each and every show that we have so people can see the other shows that we have. We mention them all the time, but we got away from doing the advertisements.
Well, we still have the advertisements. I don't have one for each show yet. I've been meaning to get those done.
Yeah, but that's why I want to kind of do a sneak preview of each and every show. So when we get done talking about, Trump's defeating the impeachment for the second time.
Yeah, because you'd have the advertisement where you ran all of them back to back, like midway through the show.
Yeah.
And I'd mention breaking them up instead of running each one.
Right.
We can absolutely do that. We can run a couple and
with that, Michael. You have failed,
especially with the new shows.
Absolutely. Well, then, I mean, unless there's any more disagreement about the impeachment, we'll go ahead and check out some intros, and we'll be right back. Let's see which one we want to go with first. Here we go.
Let's do clear and convincing.
Okay.
He's got some.
In the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. I done said the right thing, but it must have used the wrong line. I've been on the right trail, but I must have used the wrong car. Hit us in a bad place, and I wonder what's good for.
Copyright being what it is, we'll go ahead and cut that one short.
I was going to say, there goes
cool,
copyright.
Dude. I do love the music for that, because I could just see you back there, you're like, I'm Shaq, motherfucker. This is my show. Yeah, that's cool. I love that, man.
But no, we'll go ahead and do two per go, because I think we'll need to do two per.
How many are there?
To get through these.
How many
there's
shows are there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6, 7, 8, 9. There's like 9 or 10 shows now.
There's 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't forget
we'll go ahead and do.
Yeah, don't forget the Black Sheep podcast too, because that's coming up soon.
Okay, that's enough of that. Once again, copyright being what it is, I need to actually redo both of those intros to well, I don't really need to do CNC, but I do need to redo the Black Sheep so that I don't have as much music and I can actually claim that I've altered it.
And we definitely do need to put on the disclaimer in front of each and every show.
I don't know about each and every, but definitely this one and yours, Black Sheep, and maybe Sci-Fi Visions. I'm not sure about that. But
It wouldn't hurt to do it on all of them.
It wouldn't hurt to do it on all of
Yeah.
them because somebody may say something really off the wall someday, and you don't want to be,
That's true. That is true. Okay, y'all. This one we're adding a little late, and actually, Ron is coming in right at the perfect time. Ron is joining us. Ron from Sci-Fi Visions on on Friday nights. Ron, you're muted, so you've got to unmute yourself, brother.
I have unmuted myself. I apologize.
Good job.
Okay, so Ron, you only missed the first topic.
Radio,
so
man. It's awesome.
We talked about impeachment.
Yeah, it's okay.
I mean, it's all good. There wasn't much to it. Gina Carano was fired by Disney this past week, or actually, to be technically correct, her contract was not renewed. Sean, I know you are going to go on a diatribe about this. Ron, I know you don't agree with it. All I'm going to say about this is, right or wrong, Disney was within their rights based upon the way business is done today to do what they did.
Yes.
They exercised, and I believe there was probably a morality clause, and they exercised it, and now she's without a job. Ron, you're the guest, so we'll start with you first on this.
Hello. Okay. So I'm just throwing in my 2 cents.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying not to be too political, but
this is the political show. Go for it.
Yeah, this is a political show. You can do it here. Yeah.
I think that it was just because they can do something doesn't mean that they necessarily should. I saw the tweet from Gina Serrano or Carano. I don't want to say it wrong. Serrano?
I think it's Carano. Yeah.
Carano. I saw her tweet. There were plenty of Jewish men and women that commented on it online saying that it was not anti-Semitic in any way. I think it was interpreted as such because she had some haters at Disney from previous tweets and also that I read. And sure, yeah, Disney was well within their right to let her go if that's what they wanted to do. But she made those tweets on her own time, in her own social networking account. And I don't believe that they were egregious in any way. So what they saw as anti-Semitic or cruel or off-color or whatever the laundry list was that they shouted out there, I personally did not see it. I don't think she should have been fired.
Well, and I'll even throw out there, and I was talking about this earlier, do I believe Gina Carano is anti-Semitic? Absolutely not. No. Do I believe that Gina left her tweets open to interpretation? Absolutely.
And I don't think it was an interpretation issue. I think it was people that just didn't like her opinions on other matters and used this as the crux to get her fired.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, I mean,
and I say fired because it wasn't just that Disney didn't. And I'm sorry, I was continuing.
It's okay.
I had stopped, but then another thought popped in. I do say fired because it wasn't. It wasn't just that they failed to renew. Her agency also let her go. So
yes.
Really, now I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
Yes. The biggest problem here, is that when you are a celebrity, when you're out there and people can see you from day to day, honestly, you just kind of either be quiet about it or you're going to be outspoken about it. Mm-hmm. And when you find out that a certain celebrity happens to be a conservative or ultra liberal, yeah, sometimes you're just kind of like, really, that guy, really, Right. One of my favorites, even though he's a conservative, Tom Selleck. I love Tom Selleck as an actor. I think he does a great job in everything he does. Quigley Down Under is one of my favorite movies of all time, but he's really pro-gun rights. And I remember a few years ago when he was on the Rosie O'Donnell show, she really attacked him on the show. And yes, and he stopped and he's like, I didn't come on here for this. I'm here to promote this fucking movie or whatever I'm on. Mm-hmm. And yeah, dude, like you're so uncool right now. That's
Right.
the thing about, and I don't want to pan it. I don't want to pan it as liberal Hollywood, but the cancel culture part of Hollywood, that's the part I don't like. They really are going after a lot of conservatives right now. I don't care if you're a conservative. If you're on a show and you're doing a good job, I don't fucking care what you believe. You're doing a good job. You're entertaining me. I love The Mandalorian, and I love that character, And I did look at her tweets. It wasn't anti-Semitic. It wasn't bad. If there's a morality clause, she did nothing immoral.
And watching the Ben Shapiro a clip from Ben Shapiro's show, there is a gentleman that's also on The Mandalorian currently, who not too long ago, from my understanding, made a similar claim as to comparing an American something to Nazis.
Right. And once again, let's just establish comparing anything in today's culture to Nazi Germany is absolutely just like, are you fucking shitting me? To me, at least, it's like there's nothing we are currently going through.
It's the ultimate insult,
equals what happened then.
Right. It's the ultimate insult, though. When you hate someone so much and you want to make them look really bad, you call them a Hitler, or you compare them to Nazis or things like that.
Absolutely.
And or you play the martyr card and you say, well, we're being treated like so-and-so,
Right.
and it's just words, man. That's all it is. It doesn't hurt anybody. Unless you came out and said, I want to kill all the fucking Jews. Wow, you should be fired for that. That's fucked up, but nobody said anything like that. So
right. Absolutely. And, I think if I had my mind in Disney's mind, which it's, by the way, it's hilarious that, looks like we may have lost Manny. But if I had my mind in a Disney executive's mind, which once again, I think it's hilarious that that we're talking about anti-Semitism and somebody being fired from Disney when there's a running joke that Disney was a known anti-Semite. But
right,
it's true.
Yes. Walt Disney was an ardent racist, and he made no qualms about it. And Disney has, you look at Disney.
Oh,
Plus,
so this is actual fact. This isn't just
this
a rumor.
is true.
Yes, okay. Mr. Walt Disney was a racist. Yes, we know this for a fact.
A lot of people were back then, though. Henry Ford was too.
Yes, but Disney Plus has removed a lot of that racist content, or they have put warnings in front of that content to say, hey, this was made a different time, and we're going to warn you right now that some of the stuff that you see might be disturbing. Now, like Song of the South is never going to be played on there because it goes beyond the norm. It's really racist. So, yeah.
But like I said, if I'm a Disney executive and I look at it, okay, we warned her. I believe the first one was September. The first incident was September. Okay, we warned her there. Then the LGBT situation.
Whoa. What was the warning? What did she do? Don't just say the first incident. What was
the first incident the LGBT, or was the second incident the LGBT?
The second incident was the LGBT.
Okay, so the first one was the anti-masking.
But again, she did the anti-masking, which that upset some people. I get it. I think anti-maskers are stupid, so she's a stupid chick. Cool, but she's still doing her job. I don't care.
Right.
But did you see what she actually said?
I didn't see the word. I can't quote it word for word, but I know that it was anti-masking. I know that because that was the first thing she was accused of. The second thing she did was the bebop thing on her gender.
Right.
Okay, so she doesn't want to put her gender. She doesn't want to play that game, so she puts bebop. No harm, no foul.
She only done that because people were pushing her to identify as something.
I understand this, and once again, right or wrong, I'm not taking necessarily a side. I'm just explaining the pattern here. Right. So you have your first incident, your second incident.
Right.
It sounds to me like 3 strikes and you're out.
But
you caused a lot of bad pub.
But she didn't do anything immoral. That's the thing. She's being censored to say things to play along with certain ideologies. What if you don't agree with that ideology?
Right. And how much bad publicity was there really? I've seen a huge backlash of people that's saying, I don't know why you fired her. I don't agree with it. I mean, it's just how bad was the publicity? I mean, what was the you got to kind of weigh out what you think the bad publicity would be, or the backlash, against how many people have actually dropped Disney Plus now.
Right.
True.
Disney sees numbers. They care about money, and they should. Right. I'm not saying it like it's a derogatory thing. They're a bank, really.
Right.
And
absolutely.
And what if it's her religious beliefs that made her make these statements that she did? What if she's a conservative Christian? What if she's a Muslim? What if she is an Orthodox Jew? I mean, we don't know. I don't care. But I'm just saying, maybe because of that, and she has these sacred religious views in her heart that she doesn't want to play the game, and now she's being punished because she doesn't hold the same ideology. That's what I don't like about cancel culture. You either do as we say or we get rid of you.
I'll be completely honest with you. I think cancel culture's BS. Where I stand is I can understand the decision that Disney made. I think that whether they were listening to the right people that day or what.
Right. But you're saying that it's a morality clause. I say prove the immorality. That's what I say.
I don't necessarily say that it's a morality clause. I can see them playing that card.
Right, because again, it's just cancel culture. If they don't like you, then you're gone. You know, it's kind of like Tim Allen. What on ABC? He had the Last Man Standing.
Yes.
Yeah. He has conservative views and all this and that. But you know what? He's a funny guy.
That was a really good show, by the way.
Well, I mean, Rosie got canceled too. Real quick, Manny, you've been trying for the longest.
Gina's comment was, we need to clean up the election process so we are not left feeling the way we do today. Put laws in place that protect us against voter fraud. Investigate every state. Film the counting. Flush out the fake votes. Require ID. Make voter fraud end in 2020. Fix the system. I don't see an anti-morality thing.
Does anyone have a problem with that?
I don't.
In theory, absolutely not.
No, in any way, I don't at all.
Hold on. I think what triggered it was the fact that she was referencing essentially the same thing that the president at the time was referencing.
Look,
what is that? I don't get it.
Cancel culture got rid of Al Franken because 20 years ago he put his hand on a woman's breast. Right. And Democrats held him accountable and they got rid of him, right?
Right.
So that was a stupid thing. He was a really good congressman. That never should have happened.
Right.
So the people that do the cancel culture are primarily liberal Democrats. They will go after their own. They will go after Democrats. They will kill anybody. They don't give a shit. And that's why this is dangerous.
I would agree.
Yes.
Especially if it progresses their narrative. Especially if it progresses their overall narrative.
And I mean, my thing with this is go kind of flipping sides here. Manny?
Go
ahead.
The comment on the masking was she reshared a post that said Democratic government leaders now recommends we all wear blindfolds along with masks so we can't see what's really going on.
It was a joke.
Again, where is the immorality? So that was the first strike that you're talking about. Why is that even a strike?
Yeah, I have no problem with what you said.
She spread nothing about hate through any of that. She didn't really push a point one way or the other. Yes, she did mention Democrats, so I guess that offended some people. But I don't see why that was a strike one. That was just people that got their underpants in a wad and decided to make her a target for no reason.
Relative to those two, yes, I can see your point. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm not saying that she did anything immoral. I'm saying that is probably the guys that they're going to use if they have to fight this, I should say. But with that being said, yes, you're absolutely correct, though. Kind of flip-flopping back onto the other side, I do agree. Cancel culture is bullshit, and cancel culture unchecked is going to be very dangerous, especially for anybody. You know, as much as people want to talk about the propaganda that Trump spewed for the 4 years he was in office, you want to talk about propaganda, you're kind of, making it so that the only news out there is your news, which would include, which would basically be propaganda. Unchecked
Right.
stuff is propaganda. That's the beautiful thing about our democracy. We check shit. So, I mean, yes, absolutely. Cancel culture in and of itself, I disagree with, because it's absolutely asinine. And like I said, as much as Democrats want to yell about propaganda, that's what it's going to lead to. You're only going to get one side of the story. You're only going to get, unchecked situations, and that's not a good thing. Whether you want to argue with me, well, if that means that no Republican ever gets in office again, then that's a good thing. No, that's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing.
There's checks and balances to this situation. And number one, this cancel culture thing is going to lead to partly what I was talking about that Democrats needed to avoid. Democrats, yet again, need to avoid this topic like the plague, because they have an election cycle coming up in 2 years, less than 2 years now, that they're going to have to try to retain a razor-thin majority in both chambers. They probably won't. And they're going to have to figure out some way to, govern again with split government.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to rant just a little bit.
Go for it.
Okay.
Okay, like Gina Carano, she's allowed to say that she doesn't like that we're wearing masks. But she does wear a mask. When she goes out, she obeys the law. That's her wearing a mask right there. She's allowed to say she doesn't want to. She's allowed to challenge it verbally. All she wants. That's called freedom of speech. And what I mean, if she's walking into a private establishment with a sign that says you have to wear a mask to come in, and she refuses to wear a mask, that's a strike. Okay, that's wrong. But saying I don't want to wear a mask, but I'm going to wear one anyway because there's a sign up that says I have to, but I don't like doing this, is her God-given right as an American to be able to say.
Absolutely.
The other infuriating thing to me is, I'm a little bit older. I don't know if I'm older than you guys or not, but when I was a kid, I remember plenty of times where before a show like Crossfire would air, the network would put a little blurb on that said the views expressed in this show are not necessarily the views of the network.
Right.
We just started that.
We just started that today.
Okay. Oh, yeah. What happened to that? Why doesn't Disney ever say, hey, the views expressed by some of our cast members in their private time are not necessarily the views of the studio? Wash hands. We are. What happened to that?
And that's the weird thing. I don't want to interrupt your rant here, but that's the weird thing. Disney, I never saw come out with this statement. It was 3 strikes, you're fired. We're not going to say anything in defense of you. We're not going to say anything. That struck me as odd.
Right.
It must have hurt them financially, though. A lot of people canceled Disney Plus. I mean, I think it actually made a dent. I mean,
right.
It did.
Manny?
That's what I was going to say. It wasn't Disney that just said, oh, we don't like what you're saying. It was the people that contacted Disney.
Right.
And now Disney's like, oh, crap, we got this one person that did this and this whole group of people that are complaining about this. We better do something.
You had a lot of liberals that came in and said, hey, we don't like the fact that she's a conservative. We don't like the fact that she's an anti-masker. You had the LGBTQ community come out and say, well, she's transphobic because she did the bebop thing.
Threatened that they were going to cancel.
So
they got rid of her, and then the other side canceled anyways. So it's like,
it's
there are two sides of the argument.
It's just like the attack on J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling's being attacked in Britain right now like mad crazy because she has said that she stands for women's rights and trans people's rights. The fact that she doesn't put them together, she's got a whole bunch of flack for it, and they want to cancel her and burn her books and all this other kind of thing. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. That's acting like a fucking Nazi. Okay? That's censorship. You don't burn books. You don't fire people for opinions. It's bullshit. They need to stop.
If I were to give her one knock that I'm like, you really shouldn't have done that, Gina. You really should have thought that through, would be the bebop thing.
Why?
That's the only thing that I would have been like, slow your roll. You got to think this through.
Absolutely
if you're a publicist, you got to be like, Gina, the fuck? Are you insane?
No,
once it happened, she did have somebody that reached out to her and explained what the whole identity thing was, because according to her, she really didn't know.
Okay, well, there you go. Easy explanation. Then I withdraw my only.
Yeah.
And to my
issue
knowledge,
that
once
I
she found
had.
out, she did take that down.
Yes.
But people continue to hate on her and hate on her and hate on her, and that's why she posted the last thing that she posted.
See, that's the thing about our culture today. Once you offend the wrong person one time, they're done with you and they want to destroy you. And that's bullshit.
And how do they have that kind of power? Why is this juggernaut that is Disney listening to a handful of bloggers that are like, I don't like him anymore, fire him?
Because a lot of the people in power at Disney are like the people that are griping.
Well, it costs money.
They're the
If it
same
goes too
view.
far, it's going to start costing them money.
It really
because
is,
you
and
know
I
what?
would agree. I mean,
Conservatives take up 50% of this country. When you look at this last election, liberals are a little bit higher. Okay, we'll say 49 to 51%. That's still 49%
that's
of
still
the fucking
evenly
country
divided.
that are probably going to cancel Disney Plus, and you're not going to get that back.
Right. Absolutely. And I mean, Disney was kind of what really shocks me when you look at it from that perspective is that Disney would take such a harsh reaction to this because you are looking at alienating 49% of your fan base, throughout
I think
the
it's
country.
more. I think it's more than that because a banner share of the fan base or the user base of Disney Plus are I'm just going to say it out loud. They're conservative Christian right that are looking for family entertainment.
Right.
I mean, they're the ones that
Absolutely.
are they're raising kids. They want them to watch Donald Duck and crap, and
they want them to watch wholesome television.
Yeah, and that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt to screw them over.
I would agree.
At one point, Disney shared those views. Now Disney has several directors and decision makers in place that don't necessarily share those views anymore.
Right.
I would agree with. I like I said before we went on the air when we originally had this talk Friday. Right or wrong, whether I agree with them or not, I understood what steps they followed. Do I agree with it?
No.
I feel icky if I said yes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Nobody should agree with it. I mean, we've allowed the Ku Klux Klan to stand on Capitol steps all over the United States and say all that hatred and spew all that vileness in front of African American cops that had to protect them for 100 years, right?
You know what's interesting though, and this literally occurred to me when I was talking to one of our other hosts who aren't here tonight. We were talking about the whole cake thing back from I think 2012 or whatever with the gay couple who the baker wouldn't allow them to make a cake.
Yeah.
And I said, actually, when you think about it, that does open the door because now that same baker, if they don't believe in the racist KKK, still has to make that racist KKK cake. It does open the door. Cancel culture does flow both ways in a negative as well.
That lawsuit was a really bad lawsuit because you know what? Let those people not make a cake for gay people. Guess what? Gay people just won't go there. And then people that are allies to gay people, they won't go there. A lot of people won't go. They'll eventually shut down. You don't have to sue them over that.
Right.
That's how capitalism works.
If they don't shut down, you don't have to visit that.
Yeah, you don't have to. It's like turn the channel, turn the volume down. You don't have to hear it. You don't have to go there, all that. Yeah, we're all adults here. For some reason, we've regressed in our society to a bunch of fucking 3-year-olds where we're just like,
Yep.
And
Good point.
I fucking hate it.
I mean, and this goes back to even the argument we used to talk about where you're talking about, people building echo chambers. That's exactly what cancel culture is.
Yes.
Like I said, cancel culture in and of itself is dangerous as hell because you're canceling any opposition.
I'm no conservative by any means, but yet I still believe they have a right to say anything that they want as long as they don't intentionally harm anybody. That's what I believe. That's what America is about. Anyone that served in the military and took that vow to protect the Constitution, that's what you protect. You protect someone's right to burn the fucking flag if that's what they want to do, even if you love it. Because it's freedom of speech, and
I cherish their right to do that. I cherish their right as much as I care about the flag, as much as I cherish it. I also cherish the right of somebody else to burn it.
Absolutely.
I think they're dirty bastards, but they have the right.
Right.
Absolutely.
And see, we would all agree with that. We think that that's a stupid thing to do, but you know what? That's their right to do it if they feel that way.
Well, I mean, hell, while we're on the flag, we might as well bring it up. What do you guys think about Cuban saying that he's no longer going to play the national anthem at Mavericks games?
That's cool.
I thought he's already changed that because
yeah, it's
has he already backtracked on that?
Well, the NBA said, no, you're going to play him. So he said, okay. Basically, the NBA is his employer.
I think I was talking to you, Manny, and I said, is he doing this for the right reasons? And that's where I want to know. Is Mark doing this because some people came to him and was like, we need to go ahead and stop playing the national anthem? Or is Mark doing this because he wants to be like, hey, look, I'm Mark Cuban. I'm so
I started a trend.
Yay, me.
Doesn't he own the
owned
team?
by China.
Yes, he does.
But he's owned by China.
Nice.
That doesn't surprise me. Mark
he was
Cuban,
once challenged to say free Hong Kong, and he wouldn't do it.
Oh, Jesus.
Really? Hey, I'll say it right now because, you know, that guy in comments that watches us right now. Hey, guy, free Hong Kong, free Tibet, free Palestine. All three of them right there.
Well, there we go. There we
Freedom!
go. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that real quick. Okay, so the World Health Organization over the past week has explored the Wuhan lab where COVID may have begun, and we actually have a story from Blink Now on this. So essentially, for everybody that didn't want to read all that, John, you always do that to me when I'm playing a video. But essentially, what it says is that the World Health Organization, to the conclusion, it doesn't seem very likely that it escaped from the research lab in Wuhan. Right. I'd like to know whenever they do come up with it, what they come up with as far as that goes.
Well, I think that original hypothesis that they talked about in these open markets, where it may have come through from like a bat or something like that. I mean, see, this is the thing. When people say open market in America, they're imagining something like in New York City, San Francisco, which is like maybe a block, maybe 2 blocks long. The open markets in China are like 5 football fields big. They're huge. There's like 1 million people in each one of these. So yeah, the possibility for diseases, for food safety not being followed, all sorts of things like that. Yeah, that's where I mean, that makes logical sense to me. It's just like when you talk about Ebola coming from Africa, because these Africans go into these caves where the guano is, where they catch it. Well, why do they do that? Because of capitalism. They're forced to go there. They're forced to go and get this stuff so that they can sell it to, you know, Maybelline and different places like that. And they catch Ebola and different things like that. So, you know, I'm not blaming capitalism for everything. I'm just saying there's a logical explanation for that. And the conspiracy theory that it came from a lab, it makes no sense because the Chinese already own us. They don't want to kill us. We owe them too much money.
That's my question. Now that the World Health Organization has come to this conclusion, does this mean we will finally hear at least it dying down, these people saying that China weaponized the coronavirus and unleashed it upon the world? Are we finally going to start hearing the end of this?
I am not a fan of the World Health Organization.
Okay.
Fair enough.
A little bit of backstory on me. I actually speak fluent Mandarin Chinese. I spent a lot of time in Taiwan, like 2.5 years.
Cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a big chunk of my life. And the World Health Organization is very much connected with the Chinese central government. One of the ways you can tell that is if you go look at the coronavirus map that's posted by the World Health Organization, they list Taiwan as part of China. It is not. It's an independent country,
Right.
but China doesn't recognize that, and so I think that the World Health Organization is going with the Chinese government interpretation of Taiwan's state as a country. It's totally independent. It's things like that. It's just the Chinese central government, from the information that I have gathered, has a lot of control over what the World Health Organization reports. Now, feel free to fact check me. Maybe I'm up in the night.
No, that's actually really interesting.
Call it freedom of speech.
No,
that I'm exercising. But
yeah, that's something that we need to investigate. We need to look into
really
that.
Interesting.
We need to find out.
Thank you for bringing that up, Ron. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. And apparently Manny did, because Manny's like sitting over here cheering you on over in the side.
I've heard a lot of the same things. I mean, it's one of the reasons why Trump left the World Health Organization was because of that, because of the Chinese influence and different things. So that may be true. Not everything that Trump said was an absolute lie.
So then, and by the way, we're also joined now by Duck. So then, who would you like to see go over there as a independent investigative body? Maybe the UN?
I would like to see the American idiots go over there as an independent body and figure it out.
I don't know about all that now. They may not look too kindly upon our free speech over there.
Right.
Also, it was Taiwan that first warned the rest of the world about the rise of COVID.
I actually do remember that part. Yes,
right.
Absolutely. Duck, we're talking about the World Health Organization exploring the Wuhan lab and coming to the conclusion that it couldn't have. We can't hear you either. We can't hear you either.
What?
Yep. we got no sound, brother.
But that's actually groundbreaking information to me, Manny.
Antonio.
Yeah. I was gonna go that route too. I'd like to know why the United States was blocked for more than a year to go and investigate over there. Why did they keep us out? What were they trying to hide? National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has concerns about the early findings that China was telling us they found.
This is Biden's national security advisor or Trump's?
I'm sure it was Trump's.
Okay. Not that matters. I'm just trying to place everybody.
Actually, I think it's Biden's.
Okay. Hold on, I'll look up. You said Jake Sullivan?
Jake Sullivan, National Security Advisor.
He is President Biden's.
Yes. Okay. He says that he has concerns about the way that they were reporting the early findings to us, and he has questions about how they reached those findings. And we can't get answers on that.
So this isn't necessarily what I thought it was. Finally we know for sure we can drop the China.
No,
this actually muddies the water
they are
more
worried,
than what I thought.
Their concern is they're using the World Health Organization as a propaganda tool to say, hey, we're all good.
Huh. That's actually really interesting. Now, this is the first piece that makes me go, as far as what is China doing.
I would also like to know
it makes you go, what?
about the fact that the Chinese military works out of the Wuhan Virology Institute, which is where this virus supposedly came from.
Yeah.
Sean, does this make you pause?
No.
As far as the World Health Organization, Republican Senator,
go ahead.
Florida's Republican Senator Rick Scott says that we need to hold up any funding that goes to the World Health Organization until they have a turnaround in their leadership.
Ooh. Now, this is actually really interesting, though, Sean. I know you started, and I'll let you finish your thought there in a second, but this actually is interesting to me. I did not know that the World Health Organization was so interconnected with the Chinese government. That really speaks to this. Is this really a
clear-cut investigation?
Investigation, like an independent investigation.
Why is that surprising, though? They are the largest economy. They are the largest nation in the world. They're about to surpass us as being the richest nation in the world. They're going to start controlling world policy, and we're going to start taking a second seat to them.
Why should they be controlling world policy?
Why have we? Because we're the top dog right now, and they are going to be the top dog pretty soon, and they're going to start controlling it. I mean, it's time for the baton to be passed off. We're not number one anymore.
But the UN's not really going to back them as long as they have the views that they have on human rights and issues like that.
What about our views on human rights?
A lot better than China.
Is it? I mean, we gas Native Americans that want to protest pipelines, and we beat them and we arrest them. We put them in jail. There's no difference between what we do to the natives here than what the Chinese are doing.
I would like to say did, but did.
Right.
Past
that was what, 2014?
I mean, still past 10.
That long ago.
But no, I don't know. I mean, is there an investigative body? Because you make a good point. They're not going to let the UN in there. Is there an investigative body that can... Are we ever going to get a clear answer on this? Of what was the origin?
No.
Probably not. We'll all be speaking Chinese in 100 years, It's like Blade Runner.
I doubt I'll be here in 100 years, Sean.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, touche.
I mean,
if they ever decide to recall their debt, we're screwed.
Right.
Okay. So, Sean, what were you going to say? You said something about switching topics, and we're about to switch topics.
When we switch a topic, be sure you play one of the other openings so that everybody knows what the shows are.
Okay. I will play another open, and we'll be right back with more American Idiots after this.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
Welcome to the Wrestling Wrap-Up with Michael and Aaron, where we take the top headlines and most important moments in professional wrestling history, and we examine them right here for you, the fan. It's the Wrestling Wrap-Up with Michael and Aaron, and it begins right now. We'll actually begin Saturdays or Sundays from 12 to 2, but I saw you rolling your eyes at all in AEW clips. We actually just had our very own Manny Hispani on the last episode Saturday while he was driving to Texas.
We definitely have to drop Ron a dime to go ahead and do all of our promos for us.
Right.
Because, because we're like, when you do it, Michael, you were...
That vocal right there, you sounded nasally.
He did fine.
I'm Michael Carnahan.
Sick as hell that day. Y'all know that
things. Yeah,
I was so sick that day. I was
Michael.
toughing it out for the Podcast Network 49 crew. I was down for the cause.
He had COVID when he did it, which is funny because
I was recovering from COVID when I did
Right,
he's a hero. That's amazing.
I was recovering from COVID.
Now he caught it on 12th Street.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it if I was recovering from COVID.
Yes, everybody. I was a guest. I was spitting my knowledge of what I know about wrestling.
Spitting facts.
If y'all want to go and check that out, I'm sure it can be found on where Mike? Where can it be found?
It can be found. I apologize. I'm trying to message Duck at the same time. It can be found on YouTube. It can be found on Facebook at the Wrestling Wrap-Up Podcast with Michael and Aaron. Just go ahead and click it. Give us a like. Give us a thumbs up if you're into pro wrestling. We talk about everything in the state of Arkansas. On the big scale, we talk about stuff, all sorts of stuff. So
But now people know why I'm so outspoken here.
Okay. By the way, Doug says our volume sounds better. I'm so glad that, Sean, you're taking care of that because everything was passing by so quick. Okay. So, with that being said, we can now get into our third stimulus check, and we have a story now from Michael on Michael on the mic clips, and this isn't me, Michael, by the way.
So, right now, we've been hearing a lot about stimulus checks, and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says that workers earning up to $60,000 a year should receive stimulus checks under the White House's proposed $1.9 trillion stimulus relief package. Currently, the way it stands is a lot of Democrats want to have it, or that $75,000 a year or less price range, and they want to have it similar to the same earnings as the first stimulus check. So what I mean is that if in the first round is if you made $75,000 a year or less as an individual, you receive the full stimulus check. But now Janet Yellen wants to reduce that number. So instead of being at $75,000, they want to reduce that to $60,000. Some Democrats are not happy with this at all, but Republicans are more for cutting down the income requirements. I think personally that they're probably going to end up leaving it at that $75,000 income requirement level, but we may see it reduced a little bit because right now $1.9 trillion stimulus package is a really expensive package that is a lot of money, and a lot of representatives in Congress don't want to be spending that much money. They think it's not necessary. The economy is recovering, and we don't need to spend close to $2 trillion again on a package.
Okay, thank you, Michael, for that. Sean just flipped you off while we were playing that clip.
Right.
But with that being said, I don't mind the idea of, and I think me and Mandy talked about this last week, a more targeted stimulus.
No, this has been a topic before. We have all talked about this topic already.
But what I'm pointing to is the fact that we agreed last week that it needs to be a more targeted stimmy.
Yeah.
Come on, Manny, before you get on to me, let me finish.
Sean was part of that. I didn't want you leaving Sean out.
I think we need. I'll be honest. I think 50,000 is a good number.
I mean that 1.9 trillion is awesome if it all went to the citizens instead of the other funds that they're trying to throw it into, because you still got people that are holding on to that money in those other departments, wanting more.
So here's the thing. The stimulus check, it should just be for citizens, and they should write it that way. Here's a stimulus check only for citizens that make below $75,000 a year. That's it. You don't have to write anything else. You don't have to add anything else to it. No,
we don't need foreign aid. We don't need other departments.
We don't need to study trans rights in India over this shit. No,
we don't need to add big business into this.
Right. This is just.
That's not going to happen.
I know it's not going to happen.
We know it's not going to happen.
It should be simplified to such a point where you're just like, here you go, right there. Okay? There's your money, America. Take care of yourselves. And you know what? If you don't need it, just put it in the fucking bank and save it, because someday you will. Because we're all one medical bill away from bankruptcy in America. That's what's sad about America. We don't have universal health care, so that people that have cancer and they're fucking dying and they still have to go to work until the day they die, it's bullshit. Okay?
And then their boss might call them on the day they die and make sure that they got their shift covered.
Well, just like this little mini blizzard that we have here in Arkansas. How many people have had to force themselves to try to go to work, right, and end up in ditches or die?
Let's talk about the 10-car pile up in DFW last week.
Okay, ice. Yes, it's the same thing, though. I mean, in America, because we are so driven by profits and numbers and all this bullshit, fuck humanity, fuck human rights, fuck the fact that, you know what, you might be out there slaving yourself, to support a family. You better be at work and risk your life in an ice storm or, this little mini blizzard we have here in Arkansas, different places, Texas, all around the South, because if you don't, we're going to fire you. You know what? Hey, if your company fires you over that, cool, go find another job. Seriously, because that's not the company to work for.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm with a company right now that actually shut down during this shit, and I was really impressed by that. I was highly impressed by that.
I'll be honest, I was shocked when I read that Walmart shut down
Right?
for this. I was like, Walmart, what the hell just happened?
Kroger's doing the same thing too.
Like, applause to them, because good on them
Right.
for not making their employees get out in this BS, because if you didn't prepare, like Sean said many a time, if you didn't prepare for the shutdown, well, that's your fault. But, you know, with that being said, once again, I have no problem with the targeted stimulus. I'd kind of like to see it go down to $50K. I don't think anyone making 60 and above is really crying for money right now.
Well, again, I mean, it comes down to that one medical bill.
True.
But even at that, Mike, I mean, you're looking at if you were making 60,000 when COVID first started. Those people that were making 60,000 then may have lost their job a month ago.
But the majority of
the
people,
year, and they do need it.
But the majority of people making 60,000 a year still spend their money like they're making 30,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? The majority of people do. Most of us spend beyond our means. Not all of us.
A lot of people don't plan.
But most people do. And so, you know what? The stimulus is welcomed by most people.
Right.
It should be.
And I don't think anyone's ever going to turn down free money by any
they
stretch of
shouldn't.
the imagination.
Yeah,
Millionaires aren't going to turn down free money.
But there is no such thing as free money.
Absolutely agree there.
But you know, well, there is if you're Israel or places like that where we just give money away because we're an ally over superstition and shit like that. But you know what? We could cut Israel off for 1 year and actually take care of the stimulus check. And that would take care of us. Just 1 year.
That's a pretty controversial opinion.
It is a very controversial opinion, but I'm not a big believer in superstition. So yeah.
And I won't even knock it for the whole superstitious stuff that he's talking about that we all call religion. But
can talk.
Whenever you are taking care of other nations, it can put a strain on your own nation.
Right.
Bottom line.
Absolutely.
So I could see pulling money away from these other nations that we have helped in order to make sure the United States gets the help that it needs.
I completely agree.
Especially nations that commit apartheid against other nations. Yes.
Now, you know,
don't forget about we're dumping a lot of money into Europe too. Don't forget about that. I mean, they're
right.
That's why I said other nations. I'm looking at them.
I mean, this last
cut the funding in half that we've been doing for the last how many years?
This last stimulus, I think both sides were like, what the hell is in this bill? Republicans and Democrats are like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, the one that got us 400, a lot of people were like, this is BS how much you're giving to other people and giving us a little $400 check. And, you know, Trump, for all he did right and wrong, you know, he looked him in the eye and dared him, said, give me $2,000 and I'm signing it today.
But you know what's crazy is that Jeff Bezos could get everyone in this country $1,000 stimulus check from his own personal account, and he'd still be the richest bastard in America.
Well, to be fair,
he was
I don't
recently
think that's
surpassed.
Jeff Bezos.
Oh, was he? By Bill Gates?
No, the richest man in the world is now Elon Musk.
So Elon Musk could do the same thing. Elon
but that
Musk
doesn't matter.
and Bill
That's
Gates.
their money. They don't have to.
Yeah, that's not his job.
What they can do.
We're going to get in a whole debate over that shit. I'm going to disagree that that's their money.
Wait. Then I would like to hear that.
Frozen. I
thought it was their money.
Well, Doc, actually, I want your opinion on this real quick before we get off.
He blinks up and I asked him a question. Bastard!
He got scared and ran.
Real quick, I do want your thoughts on this third stimulus. They're talking about where the income cap should be, whether it be at, I've heard it at 50,000. Who'd we lose? Oh,
Manny.
Yeah. I've heard it at 50,000. I've heard it at 75. I've heard it at 60. Where do you think the cap should be at people? Once again, I think 50,000 is a good number.
What does your average congressman make?
I don't think Congress should get a stimulus.
That's the number right there. Why
Your
not?
average congressperson makes over six figures, though, don't they?
So I mean, they get free health care. They get all the shit that we don't get. So, yeah. I mean, let's make an example of everybody. Let's show the hypocrisy of this fucking nation, and
Question.
flip it all around.
I've heard this rhetoric before. My thing is, are you basically, what's the final bottom line? You're saying just tax all the rich because they're rich, and we deserve some of their money, or give them the option, which I think they have the option, but are you saying we should force them to pay because they have more than others?
Well, dang, now we're getting into taxes.
That's what he is talking about.
That is what he's talking about.
That's kind of a hard thing because some of these rich
give everybody else.
Some of these people that came rich started off as broke as we are. So somebody that starts off like we,
it wasn't
started his company in a garage.
It wasn't Bill Gates. It wasn't Jeff Bezos.
Elon Musk.
It wasn't Elon Musk.
I said some.
Yes,
Elon Musk. No, his parents owned an emerald
how
mine.
do we do that to the people that started off like me eating top ramen and then use their ingenuity to get rich, and then we're going to say we want a piece of that.
Right.
Hold on, I would just like to point out, Sean, you done woke up the beast over there. Ron is Googling like it.
Yeah, he is.
And he needs to, because Elon actually owned an emerald mine, and they actually exploited Africans in South Africa. Many South Africans, Africans died working for his family in the emerald mine. That is how he was able to establish his small empire that he has today. And he should be honest about it.
People who aren't like that. What about the people that didn't have daddy give them the money? What about the people that busted their ass? Are we entitled to what they
Donald
have?
Trump? Donald Trump was given almost $1 billion when he
a small loan of $1 million.
You're using the people that may have had to go the silver spoon in their mouth. I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure you're aware that there are millionaires, even billionaires, that started off with nothing.
I would argue two entertainers, Jay-Z and P. Diddy, both didn't wake up with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Even the Fortune 500 is saying that every month there's 1,000 new millionaires, or every year, every specific period. I don't remember if it's a year or every month. Fortune 500 reports that every so often you have like 1,000 new millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm back to my point, though. My point is, how is that everyone entitled to your wealth if you do make yourself a billionaire?
So when Jeff Bezos, who is the CEO of Amazon, pays slave wages,
no, he stepped down.
He used to be,
yeah.
But he pays basically slave wages to all of his workers. Some of them are homeless. Some of them live in their cars. They don't have adequate health care. They can't actually go on bathroom breaks because of the standards that they've actually in place into these warehouses and things. They're so afraid of losing their jobs that they actually have like little jars and containers where they'll just like piss outside of the cameras. A man was actually killed in one of their facilities because he wasn't trained properly how to do one of their things. And because Jeff Bezos wanted to bring a new facility to that particular city, the governor of that state specifically shut the investigation down, and it still didn't come to that fucking state. There's all sorts of things that these capitalists do that are just terrible, and they don't pay taxes. Most of them pay no taxes at all.
I understand that. I just don't think, I feel you deflected my question. Jeff Bezos, okay, I get it. But are there people, self-made millionaires, billionaires, they're black-owned companies. I know of people that became millionaires. Are we entitled to them, to people that aren't the Jeff Bezos of the world?
Should
I got a billionaire?
Yeah. Okay. Broaden your horizons there, Sean. Stop focusing on Arkansas, thinking everybody's poor.
That's
Look
what I'm
at
saying.
California, where you have people that weren't born with a silver spoon in their mouth that have made something of themselves.
I got a billionaire that started with nothing.
Are we entitled to self-made millionaires' money to tax him higher?
Are we entitled to Oprah's money? She's a billionaire that started with nothing.
Okay, she's a billionaire that started with nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
But
Howard Schultz.
Again, not the Jeff Bezos of the world, people that really did earn that money, are we entitled to the?
Wait. No, you're saying that one person earned all that money. Did Oprah Winfrey earn every single dollar that she has, or did people that work for her organization make that money for her?
No, I
because
think
you own a business,
to say that
you
Oprah didn't bust her ass.
No, I'm not saying she didn't bust her ass to get to a certain level, but at a certain level, she stops working, right? And everyone else that works for her, she reaps the benefits of all of that,
and
right?
she pays
That's
them.
because she's paying them.
And CEO,
Right.
well, yeah, but most CEOs,
But not
are
enough,
paying
according to
people-
Sean.
She's
are paying
creating
people-
wealth-creating private sector jobs for people
Is
to
she,
also
though?
benefit.
There are
Of course
so
she
many
is.
people that work for these Fortune 500 companies that don't even make minimum wage,
Okay,
and it's
but you
fucking
jumped again.
sad.
You were on Oprah, and then you went back almost in Jeff Bezos territory. You were making a good point when you were saying Oprah, and my point is when you said there was a point where she stopped working. I'm like, well, when do you draw the line? Like at that point when she stopped working, then we're entitled to her cash, or before that when she became a millionaire after
How much money should a human being be allowed to hoard?
Who decides
and
that?
I think that's the question that
that's what I'm asking.
we're running into.
When we have
not my
people,
question.
hold on. When we have the entire planet, there's 7 billion people or more on this planet, right? And we know for a fact that little children starve to death every day all over this planet, right? That's a fact. We do know that happens. Why does one human being get to hoard millions or billions of dollars over those children that have nothing and die because they don't have anything or any opportunities?
Okay, I'd like to answer that, but first I want to at least let you know that you still, even though I've asked it 3 times, have not answered my question. But I'm going to move on to your question. If somebody earned that money, you're basically asking, are poor people entitled to money, to the money that someone busted their ass to get to? Even though they stopped working, they need to do some type of effort to get there, and they used their intelligence, ingenuity, or whatever to get to that point. And we're saying, well, there are poor people in the world, so you should give that away. And that kind of refers to my question that isn't being answered. If someone works hard to get their money, does that mean the less fortunate are automatically entitled to their money?
Well, I don't know. I look at us as a species as a whole. I don't care about individualism when it comes to wealth. I think that's bullshit. I think that everyone has human rights to basic care, home, health care, right, and a living wage. And all over the world, billions of people.
Star Trek, but the
I
real
don't give
world
a shit if I'm talking Star Trek or not, but I'm talking about what should fucking happen. Okay.
Well, yeah, I agree about what should, but in the real world, it doesn't work that way.
Of course it doesn't. And that's what I'm arguing against. You know, that's why we do.
And that's why I'm trying to get my question answered. Because what you're arguing still doesn't answer my question. When I ask you that question, I haven't got yes, lower, less fortunate people are entitled to your money if you bust your ass to get to $1 million.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I say if you make 75,000 or more, you should be taxed at 50%. Yes. I believe
you
that.
do
100%.
know that that's almost a communistic view,
I don't
right?
I don't care. I don't care.
Okay.
Sean's a leftist, by the way, Duck. So
Yeah.
You just made his day by saying that. Okay, y'all, we're talking in circles at this point on this topic, so we're gonna go ahead.
We did it again.
And take our sci-fi visions break real quick, and we will be right back to talk about the 1619 project. So we'll be right back with more American Idiots.
Sci-fi visions. Here we go.
would just like to establish, by the way, in that last topic, Duck came firing for Black Sheep. I loved it. Okay,
Cool,
y'all.
I respect that, though.
Before we really move on, I do want to point out, Sean, according to your number, you're looking at people that make $35 an hour will be taxed at 50%.
Okay. I got no issue with that.
Okay.
Damn.
No, I mean, honestly,
a lot of people.
And I may
Didn't
have.
you just say, though, honestly, to be considered middle class last week that you have to make at least
$75,000 or more. $75,000 or more is considered middle class in America. And I do believe that anybody that makes $75,000 or more should be taxed at 50% because the majority of Americans don't make that.
So the middle class should be taxed.
But it's not their fault.
What?
If there was, I don't feel taxing someone 50% is basically, to me, a punishment. It's like if this person busts their ass to be.
So before Ronald Reagan became president, we used to tax the rich in this nation at almost 72%. Okay, in America, we did that. In the United States of America, we used to tax the wealthy in this country at almost 72%. Ronald Reagan came along and knocked that down to 32%. Okay, he did that. His administration did that, and our country has fucking damn near collapsed because of that shit.
You're using something. You can do that with everything. You could justify the past. We used to have slaves. Was that cool? My thing is, you could do that with anything. You could talk about, well, we used to do it this way. But my point is, it's still my question of, is that fair to somebody that busted their ass?
Damn, we almost collapsed under Carter, but you know.
So Jeff Bezos was a rich kid who got to go to an Ivy League school who actually got a huge loan to start Amazon. He had fucking privilege that most of us don't fucking have.
You are aware when you make your point, you go to Bezos a lot.
I do, but I'll go to Bill Gates. He did the same fucking thing. Okay.
What?
I'll go to the founder of Google. He did the same fucking thing. All of these guys are rich white kids who got
Bill Gates.
Really
he was
cool
a rich white kid.
Yeah, he was.
Bill Gates was a rich white kid.
His parents loaned him the money to start everything. If your parents can loan you the money to start a fucking multi-million-dollar business, you're pretty well off.
I was just playing, by the way, about us moving topics.
We're still going around in circles, though. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to change me.
Okay, y'all.
No, not trying. I'm trying to give you opposition. I know the big bad black sheep. Nobody really, doesn't want to go there. And
Nobody does. Yeah.
Poking him because
we don't challenge him enough, man.
I enjoy it, though.
I'm a Democrat, but I want him to think on both sides.
Right. So, I used to be a conservative. That's the thing. Most people don't know is I used to be a right-wing extremist conservative like most are. And, I had to give that up because it's insanity.
Richard is watching us.
Money, there's a poor person who came from nothing and made billions. No
diatribe, Sean.
That's not true. Less than 1% of the successful people that are in the United States came from no money. Less than 1%.
Where did you get your facts? Where do you get your numbers?
No, he's just pulling this out of that.
Go look it up.
Okay, y'all.
Less than 1%.
Okay, y'all. So Republican lawmakers, including our wonderful senator here from the state of Arkansas, are opposing teaching the 1619 Project in schools. Right. And we have a hilarious clip, if I do say so myself, from the Daily Show.
It is really good. I saw this
on Trevor Noah. Be prepared.
Recently, some school districts have decided that they'll be teaching a unit on early American history based on the New York Times 1619 Project, which illustrates how the founding of this country is inextricably tied to the institution of slavery. But now, there's one U.S. senator who is objecting in the strongest and also possibly stupidest terms.
Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton getting backlash for saying that the founding fathers thought slavery was a, quote, necessary evil.
Tom Cotton wrote, as the founding fathers said, slavery was the necessary evil upon which the Union was built.
The comment came during a conversation about race in education. Senator Cotton wants to defund the 1619 Project curriculum, a New York Times program with the goal of re-examining the legacy of slavery in our country. He says the curriculum is racially divisive.
Hold up. So Senator Cotton thinks that this curriculum is racially divisive? Really, this curriculum? Yo, you know what's really racially divisive? Slavery. Why would you play that now? What are you doing? This guy acts like racial division doesn't exist until slavery gets taught in school. As if the black and white kids are in school like, la, 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 we love everybody. All right, everybody. Today we're going to learn about slavery. Yo, what the f*** did you do to us? And here's the thing. People are upset because when Cotton says that slavery was a necessary evil on which the Union was built, it sounds like he's defending slavery, right? And that's not something a U.S. Senator should do, even if his name is Cotton. I mean, how's he going to stay objective? I get it. But if you dig deeper and you take Cotton at his word, right? He believes that the United States could not have become the country that it is without slavery. Well, that's the same thing that the 1619 Project says. So why is he fighting them? You guys don't need to fight. You agree on the same thing. This is like when Ken and Ryu would fight in Street Fighter. I mean, you both agree on Hadouken. You both agree on Shoryuken. I mean, why are you even mad? And you might be thinking, if Senator Cotton wants schools to teach a less racially divisive version of slavery, then why doesn't he introduce his own lesson plan? Well, good news. With our help, he already did.
Are you tired of school lesson plans that teach slavery in a racially divisive way? Then introduce your school to the Tom Cotton Lesson Plan for Slavery, the only lesson plan that teaches slavery without mentioning race. With Senator Cotton, your students will learn that in 1619, some Americans were slaves to other Americans, that over time, more slaves were brought from one of the 7 continents chosen at random, and that the Civil War ended slavery for both blacks and whites. Students will also learn that this all happened a long time ago, which means it has no relevance to anything happening today. So buy the Tom Cotton Slavery Lesson Plan today. Order now and we'll include Tom Cotton's lesson plan for the Civil Rights Movement, letting whites sit in the back of the bus.
Well, that's our show for tonight. But before we go, I just wanted to remind you that America is facing a nationwide...
Okay. I just love that. Trevor Noah cracks me up.
It was awesome. Yes, I do
does
like that. Yeah.
But with that being said,
yes,
if you're opposed to teaching this, come on now. I think we all agreed last week talking about Black History Month in and of itself. History is taught from the white perspective in all forms, and that's something that needs to change.
Well, we know for a fact that Tom Cotton's going to run for president in 2024, and he's just trying to let his base know, wink, wink, that he's going to take over the Republican Party since Trump is not strong enough to actually win a re-election. Wink, wink.
Richard says the 1619 Project is trash.
Absolutely not. It's absolutely a wonderful thing.
But the thing is with this, that I see with this, why does Senator Cotton have a problem with, he calls it divisive.
Yes.
I have a problem with calling it divisive. It's not divisive. It's history. It's divisive in my opinion. It's divisive because it's coming from the black perspective in Senator Cotton's opinion.
So for nearly 240 years, we have had white Europeans basically create the history of the United States.
I would disagree, Socks.
History is white because the white race is the most innovative. No, that's absolutely not true. There are lists of minorities that were absolutely innovative in this nation, not just all nations, this nation too. But African Americans and Hispanics especially, along with women, that have actually done so much as far as innovation in America. Now, you want to talk about around the world, it's even more. But the 1619, let's see, Richard says it's not true. It's used history to divide races. No.
What they're teaching in school now is edited history.
No, what's been taught in the history, okay, I'm Generation X. I graduated in 91. It was all whitewashed. It was all worshiping Columbus and the colonies and the fucking, founding fathers. And there was no mention that, Thomas Jefferson owned a slave that he raped every day for 40 years. He fathered several children with her. He freed them. He never freed her, but that was his rape victim. He had a little room.
I didn't learn about that in school.
Yeah. He had a little room in his house where she was shackled and, that was his fuck toy. So Thomas Jefferson had a black fuck toy for 40 years in his home. He didn't give a shit about freeing her. He didn't give a shit about, race rights or any of that bullshit. Anything that people say. Thomas Jefferson was a bad man.
Socks,
Okay.
I'm not even gonna justify that comment by bringing it
Okay.
up on screen. One more comment like that, and you're gonna be.
But that's the type of thing that I'm trying to let people know, is that there's a lot of history that has been whitewashed and erased because they don't want to show the honesty of who these men really are. All men are flawed. Every single one of us are flawed. I'm flawed. Michael's flawed. Manny is Spanny. I'm sure Ron has his own flaws. We've all done some things. Right. We've all done some things we're not proud of. Most of us didn't rape a slave for 40 fucking years.
I think
but
Ron's perfect, though. Ron's the
no.
perfect.
Well, most of us, hopefully, most of us didn't rape
I
a
can
slave
lose
at
weight.
all.
Right.
I can lose
right.
some weight. I'm not perfect.
I mean, but Ron has that perfect voice, which does elevate him above all of us. Yes.
No,
you silly-tongued devils.
Manny's right though. We would all agree that we're not proud of the stuff we've done in our past, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, but we should acknowledge it.
I don't see that there's a problem. And Manny, I'm going to let you loose because I know you wanted to say something on this in just a second. But I don't see a problem in acknowledging that there is another side to the story. We can teach that side from also the African American perspective,
right,
and allow that to be taught as well. I don't see any problem with that. I see that you're being divisive by not allowing that side.
Hold on, you're saying to be taught as well. So are you saying there should be the history that we're already being taught plus the other history? So would you have two conflicting views?
I don't think that what's taught in schools right now is necessarily conflicting with everything that the 1619 Project is doing. They have given some facts, but not all facts. Go ahead and include those facts that the 1619 Project has pulled up, because that stuff does need to be taught as well. Like you were saying, we talked about this last week.
I can agree with that.
We need to go into actual history and not just teach edited history.
And
because edited history is what is being taught right now.
I don't want to stop it at Black history. I'll be honest, we need to teach the Mexican-American War from the Mexicans' perspective as well. We need to have perspective in history. We don't need to only get the winner's side or what have you.
Here's a statistic that most of us don't know growing up. We go to school for 12 years, we graduate. The United States has had 5 years of peace since the founding in 1776. That's it. We have been in an active war in this country for the majority of the time that we have been a nation.
Richard, I don't
Canada.
think anyone's disagreeing with that statement. I don't understand why you brought it up.
Okay, so yeah, I've heard that argument most of my life. Most of us don't know what it's like to be a slave because the slaves have mainly died. I think there's 1 or 2 actual living people in the United States. I think there's actually 2 left that were slaves.
They must have been babies.
Like 103, 104. Yeah, I mean, they're really old. The fact, though, is that the boomer generation in the African American community knew their grandparents and their great-grandparents, and some of them were slaves. And they did talk to their children. They talked to their grandchildren, and they said, yeah, I was owned, I was beaten, I was this and that. So to try to say that nobody alive today was a slave, fuck that. Slavery was a real thing for over 400 years in America. So to try to say, fuck it, just forget about it. Well, then forget about the Civil fucking War.
Is anyone suggesting to just forget about it, though? I mean, I'm not trying to throw a total wrench in this, but I do want to throw this in. I'm actually in education, and I don't like a one-size-fits-all nationwide solution for education.
Right.
I don't want for one group of people with one general political outlook, one narrative, to be determining what the curriculum is for the entire country. I don't like. I do also. I was born and raised in the Detroit metropolitan area. I'm very sensitive to the plight of African Americans, and absolutely, everyone needs to be told how disgusting and horrible the whole slavery situation was, and its impact on today, and that it's still alive and well in many ways in the mindsets of many people. All that needs to be taught. I have a problem with people like Bill Gates with the Gates Foundation and his his Common Core. And anytime we've got a small group of people,
I will agree there,
determining a curriculum for the entire country that's like, and they try to legislate it, I have an issue with that. So I needed to say that.
I wouldn't disagree with anything you'd say as far as that goes, because people in Detroit are going to learn differently than people in the South. I think that's why we do have these, these different situations going on when you even transfer school.
And we had better pizza than all of you too.
One thing that I will say, I didn't have a chance to go through all of the 1619 project, but I did come across a part that was talking about how much worse the slaves had it in America than they did in other places. And that is a place I will disagree with, because I have heard reports from black people that stated over there in Africa, their slaves were castrated so that they weren't able to reproduce. They didn't want them reproducing. At least here in America,
at least they could fuck. Yeah, at least they could fuck and have kids. They could be killed. They could be killed at a whim. They couldn't own any property. Their children could be taken away. Their wives could be taken away. They were nothing but fucking property. But that's better because they could fuck.
Hold on, Sean. I think what Manny, you can feel free to disagree with me or tell me where I'm wrong. I think what Manny's saying is what I would think, and I would agree with him if he is saying this. No slavery is better than the fucking other. No fucking condition is better than the other. It's all bullshit and
so to have somebody come out and say, "Oh, we had it worse over here." Oh yeah, well they were getting cut up over there, so that they couldn't reproduce. They couldn't have any family past themselves.
We shouldn't be arguing. Well, my slave conditions were okay because I was in a house. Well, my slave conditions were better because I was able to have a penis. Well, my slave conditions were better. No. Slavery is bad, period. Garbage. There's no such thing as, the people in Europe who were slaves were treated better. No, fuck that. It's slavery. It's garbage.
And that's why some of the people say it is an edited history with the 1619. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to read it all, but I did come across one place where somebody was saying, "Oh, we had it worse over here."
And here's a part of the 1619 that most people are going to lose their shit over right now, that they're not going to like. And most of you are going to be like, I knew you would say that, is because the Bible teaches that slavery is an institution founded by God and that it should be done. And this guy right here next to me, he knows someone. Remember Old Navy? You remember Old Navy? You know who I'm talking about. We know people here in Arkansas that wish that slavery were still an institution because God. Yes,
maybe you do, but I'm going to disagree with you there. The Bible doesn't teach that slavery is okay.
It does. 100%.
Because they even talk about not making yourself slaves. At the time you go and take a loan from a bank to get a vehicle, you're making yourself a slave to that bank because you have to pay them back.
Okay.
And the Bible talks about not making yourself a slave to other people.
And the Bible also says that the Israelites, whoever they conquer, can take those people as slaves. They can also rape the little girls and the unmarried women and kill everyone else. It actually says that in the Old Testament. Rape, genocide, slavery, all of that is founded by the God of Israel, Yahweh, which is a war god, by the way. Yeah, you should look into your own religion.
It's not founded by the God.
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay. And with that being said, y'all, we will go to another topic before we...
Before we go to the other topic, I also would like to point out that this whole project was started by the New York Times, which I'm not mistaken, is a white-owned company.
It's a liberal company.
So...
I mean, he makes a good point too, though. I see the point he's making. Maybe we shouldn't allow a white person to teach or to set the curriculum for the African American history.
Right.
I would agree with that.
I mean, I'm sure the New York Times, or who did you say?
The New York Times.
The New York Times has a few African Americans that work for them, just a few.
Well, I mean
probably
yes,
not all of them. But I mean, I'm sure they
a lot of plantation owners had blacks working for them. So I mean,
I have a problem with the New York Times creating a curriculum to roll out to the whole country. I have a problem
And
with
they
one
actually
news
state-
agency, one corporation,
So
one bureau.
Right.
I don't like it.
I would agree with you,
Could
though,
we agree
too.
that there?
They
Sean, go
actually
ahead.
stated that it was for the
Could we
purpose
agree?
to
Could
reframe.
we agree that there is such a thing as absolute truth, or is it all just opinion?
Well, these are our opinions to.
Well,
what
how do
we
you
believe
establish
is true.
absolute truth for something that had already happened and nobody alive could actually relay the story firsthand?
I would agree.
So you have a great point right there. But I mean, do we have any absolute truths that we actually believe based on empirical evidence? We do have a few, right?
Well, if you go with Obi-Wan Kenobi's interpretation, no, we don't. It's all a certain point of view.
Right. So
Sci-fi. Boom.
That's where we end up here on this show a lot, is because we all have different opinions and stuff.
Yeah, we do.
But do we? Wow. Let's just go back to segregation.
Amanda, you're taking my comment out of the text. I'm saying that no white person should create the curriculum for the African American history portion.
That I would agree with.
Because
Yes.
no
That's
white person
right.
can speak for any African American person.
At the point a white person steps up and says, "I'm going to be the voice of the black people," you got an issue.
That's a problem.
Yeah. The whole thing, as far as like the great white hope that's going to save the world, that's not going to happen. Okay, the majority of people in this world are Chinese. So all you white people out there that are scared to death of minorities and shit like that, get ready, because the Chinese are going to take over the world someday, and you can't stop them. It's actually going to happen.
Oh, my dear Lord. Okay, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and switch topics because we're going to kind of have to speed round these next few. So here's a commercial for shenanigans. Each and every Sunday, join Duck, Michael Carnahan, and the pretty boy Sean Castleberry as they give you your weekly wrap-up in all things entertainment and conspiracy. It's the Shenanigans Podcast right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Talk Radio 49. God bless, could that commercial have been any older?
Yeah, you definitely need to change that shit. Everything entertainment and conspiracy. It's like, what?
Right.
That's a really
that's been so long ago.
Right.
Okay. So here we go. 82 advocacy groups are calling on President Biden to end federal executions. Let me see. Do I have no, I do not have a story on this. So with that being said, I think what we're probably going to get into is more of the death penalty argument. And yeah, we'll probably go in quite a few circles.
Right.
But we'll start with you, Manny. What's your thoughts on these advocacy groups calling on President Biden to bring an end to federal executions?
I'm not going to be popular with some of the panel here, but bottom line is, if you are going to live your life and eventually die in prison, what is the point of wasting money to continue to feed you?
It costs more money to be on the death row.
I'm sorry, I'll go ahead.
I was just going to say it costs more money to be on death row than it does to be a regular prisoner.
How?
So what's the point?
I have heard that before, and I actually have scratched my head. How does it cost more? Just the lethal injection protocol costs extra? Like
the appeals process. So your average prisoner, it costs about $100,000 if they were to have life in prison. $100,000.
Do they not have appeals though?
Some do, yes, not all. But the appeals process is more extensive as far as the death penalty goes. And so instead of costing about $100,000, it ends up costing the taxpayers about $10 million or more, depending on the state, on each death penalty, conviction that we have.
If you can give me some numbers on that, I would
look it up,
appreciate
man.
that,
It's
just
right
so I
there.
can
It's
see it.
the Innocence Project. It has all those numbers right there.
The Innocence Project,
Yeah,
I
you gotta
wouldn't
do the
necessarily consider a credible source, just because they
The
have a
Innocence Project
slanted
has
view.
freed over 60 people from
And
death
they have
row.
a slanted view, Sean. They have a slanted view. They're not.
They-
They're
they've-
not. They're not exactly They're not exactly unbiased.
They've actually freed, though, 60 people based on evidence who were wrongly convicted and put on death row.
Those are actually incorrect numbers as well. We went through that on Clear and Convincing once. They didn't exonerate these people.
They freed 60 people.
Anyway, with that being said, I wouldn't trust anything just because of bias. I wouldn't trust everything I read off the Innocence Project. Just because of bias and their slaying against the death penalty. It's nothing about me being pro-death penalty, anti-death penalty. It's because they do have a slant, and they will make the facts match what they want them to.
And at the risk of sounding cold and heartless, I will say, yes, sometimes we make mistakes. We imprison the wrong.
We do,
all right?
And I'm going to get into that.
We try to pay for the mistakes that we made whenever we have imprisoned the wrong person.
My thing is this with my death penalty stance, and it's kind of changed over the past 4 years. I know we will never get empirical evidence unless somebody absolutely says, yes, I killed somebody, yada, yada, yada. And even then, with Jesse Miss Kelly, for example, it was brought into question. But with that being said, well, DNA is close enough for me.
Lots of exonerations have been done because of DNA
If
evidence.
if you have DNA evidence linking this person to the crime and you present that at trial, I believe that is a death penalty case, assuming that it meets the other factors.
That's all I'm saying is that if someone goes to trial and you're gonna present capital punishment, you better prove 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt that they actually committed that crime with DNA evidence, with video, anything other than eyewitness testimony, which has shown to be not credible at all.
But you're
not circumstantial evidence.
I'll shoot your DNA in the foot, though, because DNA isn't always 100%. It can exclude quite a few people.
It's pretty goddamn
but it's
close,
damn
though.
close. And
It
yes,
depends
I
on
would
where
like to
the
see
DNA evidence is extracted from, actually.
Right.
I mean, you can absolutely prove 100% that somebody did not rape someone else if you don't find DNA from that person on that person.
Right, I would agree.
Right.
I would agree. But in most cases, what you see with DNA results, it's either not exculpatory, and I just know this literally because I've done clear and convincing for the past 3 years.
Yes.
It's literally written as not exculpatory, inconclusive, or we can rule them out. It's not
but
definitely this person.
But you should never put someone to death unless you are 100% sure. That's the way the law should be, because we've had too many people that were put to death, okay, or exonerated, okay, because they were convicted by circumstantial evidence, and that's bullshit.
But
okay,
I would agree that I would disagree and say that the appeals process is there for a reason.
It
worked out in the West Memphis. It worked out in the West Memphis Threes case.
Are you serious? People still think they did that.
There has never.
But they're not
literally.
in jail for
We've
that.
gone case by case on Clear and Convincing. There has never, after the fact. There is one case of a black gentleman, I think Emmett Till, that was put to death, and after the fact, we found out they were innocent. So one case.
The point I was trying to
Other than
make
that-
was when you have people that were sentenced to multiple life sentences, and they're not trying to get out of it. They're not going through legal challenges to try to get out of it. What is the point of continuing to just feed and house them, knowing they're going to die right there?
Now that sounds kind of crazy to me because that's almost upgrading their sentence just because they said, fuck it, I'm just going to sit here and rot. I don't know about that. But I do believe that death penalty should be reserved for the most heinous and egregious crimes. I do agree that death penalty there should be a crux that DNA evidence has to be part of the case.
If things are buffering, Danny, it's got to be you because everything's clear on my end.
Uh-oh, we lost him. I would agree. I thought he was just giving me you're a retarded look.
Oh, sorry. Why did I laugh at that?
I would agree. I I would agree that DNA does have to be part of the evidence, though, because DNA is the
Just saying,
closest
it's an
thing to
incredible waste of
100%
money
that we have.
to pay for this stuff for people to just sit there and do nothing. I mean,
what if they requested death
if
penalty?
there's no chance of rehabilitation and them getting back out to a life, what are they doing? And that's what I said. Maybe it's going to sound cold and heartless, but that is my thought.
Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, so real
we're
quick,
safe
how
now.
much
We're
mine
safe
did
now.
you
Black
hear?
Sheep is here.
How much did you hear, Black Sheep?
Dude, everything
what I said?
went like everything started buffering. It was crazy.
Okay, so me and Manny are both going to have to repeat what we just said. So what I said was, I think there are certain requirements you must meet. It must be saved for the most egregious crimes. We're talking child murderers, serial killers, et cetera, somebody that literally has no chance of rehabilitation. And DNA is a must.
Wait, but you're saying some people don't have cause for rehabilitation? Why?
Nobody has. Some people don't have a chance. Ted Bundy was not going to be rehabilitated.
Well, we don't know that for a fact. I mean, you can make that claim all day long, but do we really know this? You're talking how many serial killers have we caught in the last 20 years? How many have been prosecuted in the last 20 years? You know,
I know BTK in the last.
Yeah, right. There's been about 20 serial killers that I know of in the last 20 years. How many could have been rehabilitated or not? We don't fucking know because we killed them or we put them in life in prison and we ignore them. We don't have anything. We don't study them. We don't send doctors to actually try to, figure out what the fuck they're doing.
Well, hold up. If the sentence is like a multiple life sentence, so they have no chance for parole,
right?
It doesn't really matter if they could be rehabilitated because they can never. The sentence is they can never re-enter society again anyway.
Right.
Well, no, I mean, just Michael was saying that they can't be rehabilitated, and I don't agree with that. If you feel that if they can't be, then why not remove them from society into a place where they can be studied by scientists instead of just thrown into a jail?
Yeah, I also believe that prisons should be rehabilitative. I think that our prison system right now isn't in many ways. Like,
not.
It's all about punishment and not rehabilitation. Yes.
Yeah, if they're in Gen Pop, there's no restorative justice like we call in the school system. And if they're in Gen Pop, that's like they basically learn to be better criminals.
Absolutely. Right. Manny, I want Sean to hear your statement you had made as well.
Basically, I was saying once they've gotten to that point where you know that they're not going to re-enter society again for whatever reason, what is the point of continuing to house, clothe, and feed them?
I've seen people, though, Manny, that...
And I know it sounds cold, I know it sounds heartless, but that is a big waste of resources that could be used in places where people do have a hope of re-entering society.
I'm going to jump on the other side for a second, and I will say that there is evidence to suggest that there are criminals out there or people that have been convicted of a crime that are just like, fuck it, I'll just sit here and enjoy my time or whatever. And then somebody actually advocates for them and gets them off of death row. And then, whether it be through a mental
I'm not even talking about death row. I'm talking about it in general.
I don't necessarily say we should upgrade people's sentences just because they don't want to fight them because they're life sentences.
So do you think the majority of people in prison should be put to death?
I'm sorry, do what?
Do you think that the majority of people in prison should be put to death?
I'm sorry, I was reading again. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
One more time, Sean.
Do you believe that the majority of people in prison should be put to death?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what people are in prison for.
So
I couldn't tell you what the majority is there for. What I'm saying is,
you advocate for the death penalty.
What I'm saying is, if there is no chance for them to see civilization again, then we should not be wasting resources on those people.
Another thing I would like to point out on that. Did we lose Sean again?
He's breaking up.
He's breaking up quite a bit. Sean, I apologize if I cut you off. I can't see you. But with that being said, another thing I would like to point out, a lot of states, they sentence you to life, but life is really 20 to 30 years, and you get parole at the end. There
And that's
isn't
why I said
many states
multiple
left
life
without
sentences.
life
When it's
without.
clear that they will not see civilization again. The other thing we have to remember is a lot of times they will dumb charges down so that people will confess, offering them life in prison so that they don't have to go through this whole thing and take a death penalty off the board.
Oh wow! So just real quick, Richard gave a really great statement on here about the 1619 Project, going back to what we're saying, and he talks about Frederick Douglass saying, an actual slave, he was a strong supporter of the Constitution, and he even said, "Give us freedom, and if we still fail, it's our own fault." Well, every generation has its Uncle Toms. That's what I would say.
Okay. Anyway, back to topic.
Ouch.
I wouldn't call Frederick Douglass an Uncle
I
Tom.
would not call him an Uncle Tom either.
With that being said, getting back on the topic, there's a reason why I avoided that comment, because it was bad.
Right.
But anyway, no, I do agree with you. There is such thing as, consecutive life, concurrent life, et cetera, et cetera. There is people out there that will never see the light of day again, and they are on life sentences.
But why should the state have the power to kill people?
The point is they weren't convicted to death.
But why should the state have the power to kill people?
Upgrading people's sentences. What now?
Why should the state have the power to kill people?
I mean, me and you are gonna. We've always talked in circles on this.
I mean, if you're pro-life and all life is precious, why do we have a death penalty?
I think
the majority of conservatives out there that are pro-life are pro-death penalty, and that makes no sense at all.
Me and you have had this talk. I think there's a difference between a baby
and
who
they're
hasn't had an opportunity.
And they're also
to make
pro-war, which does include civilian casualties. Millions upon millions of civilian casualties die every year because of the American military. But nobody cares about that shit. They only care about pro-birth bullshit and, fuck everybody in prison. Let's kill all them too. I don't understand it, where the disconnect is. Why do the cultists get to run the country and do that shit?
Okay, does anyone else have anything on death penalty?
Well, who are the cultists? I mean,
all religious people.
All religious people are not running this country right now. I can tell you that much.
Most of them are, yeah. The majority of the people in Congress, the majority of the people in the Senate, they're all religious, yeah. They're all cultists, yeah.
That's why prayer's been taken out of school.
Prayer's not been taken out of school, sir. You can pray anytime you want to, as long as you do it yourself, as long as the teacher doesn't lead you in that actual service. Any person can pray in school.
There have been times where even teachers try to shut that down.
Okay.
If somebody tried to shut it down, then they're wrong. Anybody can pray in school anytime they want to. The freedom of religion, I actually think anyone should have that right. I know, yeah, we're going in circles. Yeah, I see that, Mike.
They've taken the Pledge of Allegiance out of school.
No,
that's actually true. Yeah,
they're actually saying that right across the street from where I live.
Not officially.
They say it every morning.
Fewer and fewer schools are doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, because it says under God, and according to the ACLU and our Constitution, we shouldn't impose a religion into people. You shouldn't say under God, because then you're being exclusionary. Because everyone knows what that implies. That's the Christian God. It was done during the McCarthy era. That's why they added under God. Before that, it never said that. It said in liberty, for justice and all. It never said under God.
Well, if you want to get technical, Allah and the God the Father that the Jews worship and the God the Father that Christians worship are all the same.
Actually,
God.
They're not. The first God that Christians worship was Elohim, and the second one that they worship was Yahweh, which is a war god, which is what they worship today.
That I would challenge that, but not here.
We can do that all day long.
Elohim just means God in plural in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, y'all. Real quick, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to check out the Behind the Curtain podcast, which debuts this Saturday from 12 to noon. And we'll be right back with another topic after this.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the...
Welcome to the Behind the Curtain podcast with your docents, Brad Hicks, Sean Castleberry, and myself, Michael Carnahan. A show where we don't ask you to question your own perception, but if that perception is reality indeed. Okay, we're going to kind of have to speed round this one because I do want to get to the American Idiots of the Week.
What were
yes,
you drinking
you can
on
make
that
fun
one,
of
Mike?
I was drinking a lot of NyQuil. No, actually, that one was just done the
This
other
is
day.
Mike Carnahan.
I was trying to be mysterious.
I didn't want people to know if I had a penis or not.
You know what? Go to hell. Anyway, with that being said, final topic before the American Idiots of the Week here for the panel. Does Hollywood get a pass on sexual assault allegations? We actually have a story from Access on YouTube on the Manson allegations.
Were you abused by Marilyn Manson?
Yes, I was.
Esme Bianco tells GMA that just as she was becoming a star on Game of Thrones, she claims Manson was making her life a nightmare. Esme says she was first introduced to Manson, who she had idolized as a teenager by his then fiancée in 2005. After 4 years of friendship, he asked her to star in a music video he was shooting himself.
He locked me in his bedroom and he tied me to a wooden prayer kneeler. I was half naked and he beat me with a whip and he filmed it.
Over the next 2 years, Esme says her relationship with Manson turned sexual.
He would hide abuse by doing it during sex, basically. He always went too far, the biting. That was 100% non-consensual. And he would bite me till I was black and blue.
Why continue to go back?
I thought he was in love with me. I did not understand that what was happening to me was very, very wrong. And because he was incredibly manipulative.
Esme told GMA about one terrifying night after she had moved into Manson's Los Angeles apartment in 2011.
He thought I had put cockroaches in the walls to mess with him. And he took an axe and he started smashing holes in the walls. And then he started chasing me with the axe. And at that point, I thought he's going to kill me.
In response to other accusers' claims, including Evan Rachel Wood's, Manson released a statement denying any abuse, saying, "My intimate relationships have always been entirely consensual with like-minded partners."
It's disgusting that that is his response. It's very indicative of the kind of man he is, that I see him now to be, the monster that he is.
Well, there's been no further word yet from Manson's reps. Esme is hoping by coming forward, she can bring strength to others who might be in a similar situation.
Shut up, Slater. Anyway, with that being said, no. Does Hollywood get a pass on sexual assault allegations? I told Sean this. I draw a clearly distinct line. I think nowadays, no, absolutely not. I don't think there's any way you could get a pass in today's society on allegations. Right. Especially with cancel culture, like we talked about at the top of the show. But with that being said, I don't. Beforehand, yes, there's obviously a clear history of cover-ups to a certain point in time.
The Me Too movement really put an end to people tolerating that kind of shit, and for good reason.
I don't think it did. I don't think it put an end to it. It hurt it.
It increased awareness.
Right. Okay. So it decreased it. Maybe it didn't put it to an end. Okay. So the Me Too movement decreased it very significantly. If it is happening, it's happening behind the scenes. But someone like Marilyn Manson, I mean, you hear this lady, like the first time that she was sexually assaulted by him, and then 2 years later she left his ass. I mean, that kind of goes to our societal norms there. I mean, women are trained from young girls all the way up to love and be accepted by men, no matter what men do. Men get a pass about everything. It's a misogynist situation, as far as our society is. Women are trained and taught to love and give men a pass for everything. So I don't blame her.
where are we training our girls to get a pass to men?
School, church, television, radio, entertainment, everywhere. 100%. Our society is 100% misogynistic and teaches women that they should kiss men's ass, be nice, never fucking show any disdain, never fight back, never be a bitch. Okay? They have to take care of men no matter what. It's
I don't
everywhere,
recall
man.
any of those courses in church or school.
Oh, I do. I remember all that shit in church and school and on television and everywhere. You're just ignoring the fact that you think that it's not there, but it really is. And churches are some of the worst. The religions are some of the worst, whether it's Muslim, Jewish, Islamic, even Buddhist. The Buddhists are very sexist too. So, a lot of people don't know that. But yeah, it's everywhere in America.
I agree that there's systemic chauvinism, but if I even implied anything remotely like you're talking about, my wife would beat me with the toaster.
And she should. She should by all means. I mean, there are women out there that have said, you know what, enough's enough. I'm not going to take that shit anymore.
I don't know a woman that would put up with that much.
A lot of women will. A lot of women will, and that's a sad fact. Men can push women to the very limit, and a lot of times cross that line, and they can get away with it, and it sucks because again, women are taught that way. Okay, first off, they can't be angry about things or else they're a bitch. They can't speak out against things or they're a bitch. They can't stand up for themselves or they're a bitch. I mean, that's kind of the word that people throw out there. If a woman is assertive, if she's bossy, if she is, taking a leadership role, if she acts anything like a man, disregard her. She's just a fucking bitch. That's what our society teaches.
A lot of blanket statements there.
I think
we're
that's
all
a
men,
blanket
though.
statement.
We're all men. If Micah or any other woman were on this show, most of them would look at you and go, yeah, that's what we've heard. That's what has been taught to us. That's what we do. We are taught to please and take care of men.
I mean, it would definitely be interesting to get a woman's perspective on this.
I wish we had many women on this show.
I agree with Ron. I agree with Ron that there was a lot of blanket statements thrown out there.
I just know from many conversations I've had with many women over the years, my sisters, aunts, my wife, many of my female friends that I've talked to that have verified everything that I've said, for years, many years, like over 30 years of, having discussions with women over this shit.
I've never talked to women that said, well, from a young age, I was groomed to be a man's floor mat.
How many women do you know that were sexualized from a very young age by even their own family members? Most. If you ask them and they're honest about it, most of them.
Yeah, I know a couple, but I mean, to get to an honest point, I was sexually molested too.
Okay, but I'm talking about women right here. Okay, I do get that men have been mistreated, sexually molested, and everything. I apologize that happened to you and everything, but we are talking about women right now. I wish we had a woman on the show that would actually, talk about this because it's not fair for me to be the representative for all women right here.
I mean, to be fair though, you made a statement there that kind of doesn't sit right with me when you said if a woman was open and honest. Are you saying that if they said that they did not feel sexualized from an early age, that they're lying?
That's actually a good question.
Well, most women hide this. I mean, if a woman gets raped, do they go to the police? Do they talk to the police? Do they tell people? No. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, they blame the woman. What were you wearing? What did you do? Did you get drunk? I mean, what's the problem with the woman getting raped? It's the fact that she got raped by a rapist. It's not the fact that she's a woman. But everyone blames women.
Statement. I would agree with
that.
That's
what
I'm
saying.
But what I'm saying is,
okay.
What I'm saying is, I think you're saying basically the gist I'm getting is that you're saying every single woman in this world today has been sexualized from an early age.
I would say the majority of women. I would say the majority of women have been sexualized from a very young age. The entire world, yes.
But see, and here's the point that I want to make on this whole subject. If you read the topic and the way it was written, it's why does Hollywood seem to get a pass? Not why do men? You're the one that took it to it's all women, it's all women, it's all women. No, men have gone through some of this too.
A few, yes.
If you're
but
if
the
you're talking
majority
about
are women.
Hollywood, if you're talking about Hollywood, men absolutely have. I
Yeah.
mean, if you believe Corey Feldman and Corey Haim and their stories,
right?
Hollywood is a disgusting, wretched hole of pedophilia,
right?
And it's and they have given plenty of reason to believe that most of the horribly offensive pedophiles that are in Hollywood, they have not been turned over. They haven't been caught. They're too powerful.
Absolutely.
And
that's
those are
something that
almost
needs to
block
change.
little boys.
And Corey Feldman had the chance to actually release all those names and everything recently, within the last year. He was going to do that. He said he was going to talk about it, and he was going to let everybody know who are all these people. And he said Charlie Sheen again, and that was it. He didn't release another name.
And I'm not trying to be funny, but I mean, let's be honest here. The Illuminati propaganda. You know, I don't
There's
mean
no
that
such
in
thing
a
as the
jest,
Illuminati.
but
Come
you
on,
know,
don't do that.
the people that actually have the power, like Ron alluded to, probably
I'm
got
talking
to
about
him
Hollywood
and prevented
moguls.
him from doing so.
Right,
Yes,
right.
the Hollywood elitists.
Yeah, I would believe that most of the people out there, like Weinstein, that are in power positions like that, yeah, that counts.
Okay, so day 15, no vape. My cravings are almost.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on. Wait. I got to fix my thing. I just.
Sorry, I was Googling something and it didn't have the volume down.
Pamela, you do make a good point, though. You do make a good point. When women are in an abusive relationship, society, I won't say blames her, but the first words out of them is, why didn't you go to, didn't you do this?
That's blaming a woman. That's blaming a woman.
You know, so on and so forth.
That's blaming a woman. What were you wearing? That's usually what they ask a woman after she's been raped. The first thing they'll say is, what were you wearing? Where were you at? How many drinks did you have? What did you do? What behavior did you display that caused this man to want you? I mean, you look at churches, they want women to dress modestly, you know, because they don't want to tempt men. You can't tempt a man, you know, because, you know, that you're
this.
Because
I'm
I
about
always
to
go
say
there.
something. I need to say this and just take it for what it's worth. But when you are accusing someone of rape, if you want to convict them, male or female, whatever, you need evidence. And during the process of gathering evidence and gathering testimonies and making sure that stories match, you have to ask those questions. And you need evidence before you can convict someone. And there's plenty of situations where men have been convicted of rape and they did not commit the rape. Because
yeah, that is true. I do agree with you there, and I'm a person that believes in empirical evidence. But our society does attack women usually when they cry rape, you know, and that's how they that's actually how they say it. They cry rape. That, you know, I don't even mean to say it that way, but that's the term that's used. Oh, she
and a
cried
man
rape.
that rapes someone, bury him under the prison. I think we're all in favor of that. But the main question of the topic question: does Hollywood get a pass on sexual assault allegations? Nobody gets a pass.
I don't. You look at people like Dan Schneider.
They shouldn't get a pass.
He was recently let go from Disney, 2018. There are a lot of things that have started coming up about him and things that he would do to the children on some of the casts.
Kevin Spacey too.
Kevin Spacey got turned over.
We talked about Kevin Spacey when I was talking about House of Cards. And I mean, like I said, I think to a point, absolutely. Now, do I think Hollywood would bury, if somebody started tomorrow, well, let's say Sean
Josh Whedon.
Yeah. We'll say Josh Whedon then. Sure.
Yeah.
If Josh Whedon goes out tomorrow and decides to rape a girl or what have you, do I think that Hollywood will cover that up? I don't think so anymore. I don't think they could, to be completely honest with you.
There's a lot of. I mean, you look at high school. There's a lot of cliques in high school, right? There's a lot of cliques in Hollywood too. I mean, when 2 years, but 2 years before Weinstein was even accused, there's Marilyn Streep, applauding Weinstein. You're my God. I mean, she literally said that on tape. She said, "You're my God." I mean, dude, that's shit.
That didn't age well.
No, it didn't, because 2 years later, here he is, and the Me Too movement got him, and now he's going to go to prison and everything like that. Why aren't they replaying that? Why don't we see that
Uma
on a loop
Thurman?
every day? Yeah,
Uma Thurman was just singing his praises. I mean,
right.
The guy made a lot of women famous, and they sing his praises all along. And I
They
don't
say
know.
that's what tanked Ethan Hawke's careers, because Ethan Hawke went after Weinstein because he sexually, he didn't assault her, but he wanted to, Uma Thurman, and that tanked a part of Ethan Hawke's career. He couldn't work for many years because of that.
Manny, I know you wanted to say something a second.
I was just going to say that was one of the things that has come out about Dan Schneider, is that these parents that handle the kids were actually told, if things like this start getting out, your kid will be blackballed.
Yes.
There were kids that were blackballed from getting future deals.
Yeah, we can look at like children in Hollywood that have grown up and have talked about what's going on. Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Drew Barrymore. I mean, she was hooked on cocaine going to Club 54 when she was 7 years old. 7 years old, doing cocaine in Club 54. And the people that were there, no one in Club 54. People like Michael Jackson, people, the Bee Gees.
Y'all want to keep going back to the past. I'm bringing up examples from 3 years ago.
Well, I think my thing is this, though. In 2021, I don't think it would happen. I don't think that it could happen.
I think it still does happen.
It is happening.
Yeah.
I think
this guy Dan hasn't been brought up on charges, even though a lot of people seem to have a lot of evidence.
Good point.
There's a lot of evidence that, it's not damning evidence, but there's a Bryan Singer was another one that there were a lot of allegations made, and
the X-Men franchise, the director of the X-Men,
affidavits signed under penalty of perjury, and he's but not enough evidence to convict. And you have to respect that too. I mean, anytime somebody is accused by multiple people of doing something, I'm going to be looking at them pretty weird. I'm going to be like, okay, but you still need evidence.
I mean, technically.
And meanwhile, but even still, with this kind of stuff going on, they're the ones that they keep around while they're letting people that talk about face masks and you're attacking me, all this other cancel culture crap. They're the ones that's getting sent out the door.
True.
Yeah,
I see where you're going now.
Yeah, we could say that. Here are sexual predators, and then here are people just speaking their mind. Who's getting thrown out? People speaking their mind.
Point.
Yeah,
that's a good point. That's a damn good point.
It goes back to the question: why does it seem that they get a pass?
I exercised my freedom of speech and shared my opinion, and I've been totally demonized, even more so than a rapist.
Damn, Andy wins point of the night. Shit.
Look at the guy that played the principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That guy was caught with child porn on his computer. Yes, yes, he was caught with child porn on his computer.
And that was more recent, right?
No, that was about 15 years ago. And he's still working in Hollywood today.
Working in Hollywood.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
The principal from Ferris Bueller.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
Well,
he was caught red-handed.
Well, he does a lot of he went from a major B-lister to just a character actor. He just does character pieces now. Yeah.
You're saying he was caught red-handed.
He was caught. He was cat. Yeah. They actually got his computers, and they actually he was caught with child porn.
Okay, I withdraw my disagreement. Yes, Hollywood's still getting a fucking. Are you kidding me?
It's a cesspool.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh,
no,
Gina Serrano is not part of the cesspool.
Right. I mean, is there a group of people there that are like, just really sick into it, the pedophiles, all that kind of stuff? Yeah, I'm sure that there is. I mean, that one kid from the Disney Channel, a black guy, he was caught with child porn on his computer. He was fired. You know who I'm talking about? Yeah, we talked about that just about 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's not just up in Hollywood, okay, guys. As a wrestling promoter, I've actually been contacted by people asking me if they could structure a match so that people are doing certain holds to emphasize other parts of the body. And they would pay extra if I would do that.
We talked about this back before you joined the show. We actually talked about the pro wrestling culture and the Me Too movement and how they kind of coexisted as well, or kind of happened. Yeah, I mean, pro wrestling is one of the absolute worst. You know, hey, you want to get trained? Well, you know, one of the most famous female wrestlers in the history of pro wrestling, Lita, who worked for WWE and is a Hall of Famer now, is open about the fact that she had to do favors while living in Mexico to get trained.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh yeah, I mean it absolutely is. My goodness, you know.
Well, I denied.
You're right. It's not just Hollywood.
Yeah, I denied the guy anything on that one. I told him that no, not at all. I'm not interested in that.
Right, absolutely. Okay, guys. Well, we're about 15 minutes over, so we're going to speed round our American Idiots of the Week. Well, not speed round, but we're going to do our American Idiots of the Week. No commercial in between. I'm going to go ahead and do mine. Mine is the daughter of the Lombardi Trophy maker. I actually have a hilarious video of Jim Rome just roasting her. I'm not going to play the whole thing because the whole thing's like 8 minutes long, but I'll play a good clip so you guys can laugh your asses off.
All right, so I mentioned yesterday's holiday, and I told you to pick somebody or something that you love more than anything else in the world. And then I said, understand this, that one thing that you picked or that one person you picked, you do not love that person or that thing half as much as Lorraine Gross loves the Lombardi Trophy. You just don't. And there's no need even to fight me on this. Hear me out. I mean, I know you think that you love your wife or your girlfriend or your sweetheart or your significant other or your car or your watch or your phone. You don't. Not half as much as she loves that trophy. She is from Fort Myers. Geographically, that makes her Florida woman. Keep that in mind. We've talked about Florida man. We've talked about Florida woman. We've talked about Florida family. We've talked everything Florida. She's also, though, the daughter of the man who made the first Lombardi Trophy back in '67. And her dad did that for Tiffany and Company in '67. That guy's name is Greg Gross. Greg Gross retired from Tiffany in '94, some 26 years ago. But his daughter Lorraine has not retired from taking an obscene amount of pride in Pop's work. And Lorraine is all sorts of big mad and butthurt that Tom Brady disgraced her father by hucking the Lombardi from one boat to another at the parade on Wednesday. First things first, that trophy was not thrown as if it were, quote, a real football. Lorraine, watch the tape. It's not like Brady had his hand across the laces, was going through his progressions and spinning tight spirals with it. Dude pitched it to a professional receiver who caught it perfectly. As for that part about the trophy being disgraced, I guess it depends on your definition of disgraced. Some people could see it as the highest honor ever, that the GOAT literally completed a pass with it, or that it was the first Lombardi to ever go airborne, boat to boat, BTB. Most of the world looked at that and thought, damn, Brady has never been cooler. That's like literally the coolest thing that guy's ever done. That is so badass. I mean, like, it's funny, it's crazy, it's cool. That is awesome. But Lorraine thinks it's disrespecting and disparaging and disgracing a trophy.
Okay, so that's enough of that.
That guy just kind of keeps on and on and on.
Oh yeah, he roasted her for 8 long minutes. It was a beautiful thing. I enjoyed it, but he makes a good point. Tom wasn't out there throwing the damn ball like it was a football. He threw the trophy. You're sitting there.
It was an underhand toss.
Exactly.
It's his trophy.
You're talking about a trophy.
Yeah, but it's his.
Literally, when the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin was interviewed about it after they won it in 2009, said, yeah, I took Tiffany to bed. They call it Tiffany because it was made by Tiffany and Company. He said, yeah, took Tiffany to bed. I heard she gets around a lot. Talking about the trophy, like, if you're going to say
Going back to
disrespect,
Hollywood
right there you
culture.
go, Mike.
Right.
There you go, Tom. Mike Tomlin disrespected the trophy, but he went on to make a good point. He said Lorraine should probably look at what they do with the. Should probably never, see what they do with the Stanley Cup if she
Right.
thought that was disrespectful, and that's why she's my American Idiot of the Week.
No, I would agree with you there because like too many people. We've been talking about this all night. Too many people are getting offended by words here and there. I mean, Mel Brooks wouldn't have a career if he had just started out today. It wouldn't happen. We wouldn't have those great classics like Young Frankenstein or Blazing Saddles or all the movies that we grew up loving from Generation X or
I love Blazing Saddles.
Right. And Duck, let me tell you, Duck loves that movie too. He and I have sat and watched that movie and we have laughed and it's a great thing.
Spaceballs.
But yeah,
Sorry, go
Spaceballs,
ahead.
yes.
Keep going.
Robin Hood, Men in Tights, Dracula,
Times.
Dead and Loving It, all of the things that he did. History of the World, everything.
Oh, yeah.
And that goes again to Monty Python. Monty Python wouldn't exist either,
That's true.
right?
I mean, let's
So,
be honest.
Yeah.
SNL's no good anymore because of the culture we live in today.
right?
But no, she's my American Idiot of the Week because, like you said, Manny, it was literally an underhand toss. And when I saw it, I was like, "Holy shit, Tom Brady's number one drunk. I've never seen the GOAT drunk." Number two, I was like, "That's so freaking awesome." So I mean, Lorraine can take a chill pill and understand that number one.
Like Rome
Daddy
said, it
ain't
highlighted
my
the trophy more than it defamed it.
Thank you.
I'm kind of offended though. You just said you never saw the goat drunk. You see me every week, dude. Come on.
Okay, Manny, we'll go with you with the American Idiot of the Week.
I also clearly understood.
1996.
Yeah,
Who?
what are you saying? Sorry.
Oh.
The 1996 silver and bronze medal winner Scott Miller
Okay.
arrested in a $2 million meth bust.
No.
An Olympic medalist.
Well, you need meth to be an Olympic medalist.
Touche.
I don't see the problem here. How else are you going to compete?
You should have people to go pick your stuff up.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
At that point.
Yeah, he did it all wrong. He did it all wrong. Yeah.
Scott
meth
Miller,
doesn't surprise
my
me.
American Idiot of the Week, for going himself down to the corner or wherever it was to get his meth fix. $2 million.
on the corner.
If you're going to spend $2 million on meth, you can have somebody pick it up for you.
Hold up. It was a $2 million deal?
$2 million.
That's a lot of meth, right? I mean, I'm not a
Yes.
meth culture guy, but
Yes.
I did watch all of Breaking Bad, and that sounds like a lot of meth. Like
That would
duffel
probably
bags.
probably fill my house full of meth, right?
God bless.
At least 2 bedrooms.
My dude was trying to get a lifetime supply.
Something.
Wow.
I mean, it's one of those things, the more you buy, the cheaper it is type thing. I can
That
only
is not
imagine
smart.
how much he was doing. Hey.
Did he get a user's discount?
Do they have a rewards card?
Right. $2 million. I better have a rewards card. God damn.
Damn.
Yeah.
If I'm spending $2 million, you bringing that shit to me.
I better get a fruit basket at Christmas too.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I better get
And an invite to your kid's college graduation because I just paid for that shit.
because you just paid for your kid's graduation. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All sorts of things are exploding right now. Thinking about it.
Oh my God. Okay, Sean, your turn. Oh, it's going to be hard to beat that.
Dude, I can't beat that. I can't. There's no way. I was just going to say cancel culture. Yeah, that's all I was going to say. That you took away my thing.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's okay. The censorship of Hollywood and the, firing of, old girl from Disney, and that's it. But no, dude, he just won it, man.
$1 million.
Yeah, $2 million worth of meth. Jesus. That's
Did he live in Saline County?
Yeah, did he live in Saline or Faulkner? Faulkner County, around Mayflower? Did he live around Lolly Bottoms? No? Okay.
Was it
I don't know
airdropped
where
like
he
in the Tom
lives,
Cruise
man.
movie?
What's that?
Was it airdropped like in the Tom Cruise movie? I mean, that much meth. I'm still on
Airdropped
that.
in the Tom Cruise movie. You mean airdrop like Clinton was doing in Arkansas?
I think the Tom Cruise movie, yeah.
Yeah, that's how they started their fortune.
The Mina connection.
Yeah, they made a lot of money
Jesus,
doing
that's crazy, man.
Oh my
I've
goodness.
never
Okay.
an Olympic gold
Ron.
medalist. I mean, I've heard of Olympic gold medalists like, getting fake tits and call themselves women, but not buying $2 million worth of meth. Jesus.
Well, you got Phelps that was smoking a bong at a party. Which, okay, we can say it's bad or whatever, but I mean, $2 million of meth.
Man, I thought I was gonna win this week because of my Jim Rome clip, but
Oh.
man, he blew me out the damn water.
Yeah. You came
Okay.
prepared and he blew you away. Yeah.
Ron, I know you kind of
All right.
joined late, but do you have an American Idiot of the Week you want to nominate?
I'm the new guy. I came unprepared. You need to give me a little bit more time because
so basically the American Idiot of the Week is someone that you find in the week's news that has just hit you as far as being just like the biggest dumbass that you can find. And we try to just
Oh.
I'm seeing if there's something that jars my memory in recent news, and
Right.
I got nothing right now.
It's all good.
Next time I'll have something, but
Hey, it's
I'm
all
sure
good,
there's
brother.
a lot of them. I'm sure there's a lot of them.
I mean,
yes.
you
And
can
usually-
say me because I'm usually the American Idiot of the Week on the show, so it's all good. Yeah.
You be nice to yourself.
No,
Usually-
it's
fine.
Usually it involves, like Jim Rome said, a man in Florida or a woman in Florida.
It's always Florida.
I don't know. For quite a many times, it's been a man in Washington for me.
You're right. You're
Right.
right.
I
A
guess
man
you're right,
currently
yeah.
living in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
I have hit a lot of Arkansans lately.
True.
I do follow space technology, and it was like last week or the week before that. There was an idiot that when they were testing the Starship, and they were going to do that static fire test, some guy drove out and violated the space that was designated by the FAA.
Oh.
And and the stupid thing, they're going for a big photo op, but if the thing explodes,
It'll kill him.
You're dead.
It'll kill him dead. It'll like epically kill him, like industrial
Like, there's
strength.
nothing
kill him.
left.
Like you have to add water to dilute how much he's dead before you.
Hopefully the dude has cancer and he just wanted to die.
Right.
Then maybe he's not an idiot. Maybe he just wanted to take charge of his own pain and
Well, I
Okay.
mean, for that matter, you could say Elon Musk. I mean, who spends that much on a rocket that just blows up, you know?
Ooh.
I think it's awesome.
You did
though.
research how to actually get it into space. It's just gonna.
Hey, to be
Okay.
fair, I'll give Elon the credit that he deserves as far as he's the closest private citizen that's come to making something like this work. So
Richard
I'll give him
Branson?
credit
Come
there.
on. Richard Branson's been talking about sending people to space for 40 years. Come on.
And never has.
Yeah,
He
Richard's
hasn't,
been
but
talking
he's been
about it.
about it.
Yeah. he's been talking about it. Oh, well,
Yeah.
no. Elon
Elon's
Musk has
putting
got
some
people to
action
space.
behind his words.
Yeah, he's actually
Right,
gotten people
right,
to
right,
space and to the. And if our kids get to go to Mars, it'll be Elon Musk. I think it's not going to be Richard Branson.
No, I
I'm
don't think
rooting for
Mr.
Branson.
Virgin Mobile.
I'm rooting for the old guy. Yeah, I have to. Yeah.
I thought you
I'm
hate the
old.
boomers.
Yeah, you hate boomers, Sean.
Well, yeah, I do. I hope he dies, but I hope he wins.
Wow.
Yeah.
So hold on, you hope he
I want him
wins
to
and
get
then
that
just
win
keels
before
over?
he dies.
Yeah. I want him to get COVID and then win.
God
Yes.
bless.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
now
Richard
that we've
Branson
been
is a
thoroughly
boomer.
canceled on this episode,
I should warn you, Ron. I'm the person that should be canceled every week. I say the most off the wall shit, and everybody's just like, dude, seriously, what the fuck?
I swear to
Even
God,
though I don't agree with you, I also don't think you should be canceled.
our next piece of merchandise should be a Death to Boomer shirt for Sean.
It should. Dude, I'm working on that. Death to boomers. Yes.
There you
I'll
go.
have that.
There you go.
I'll
I've got
have that
some
on the
stuff
store
for
in
my
the next
graphics
week.
guy. I'm hoping he comes through pretty soon for some shirts.
Be
Black Sheep
checking our
says
cafe
death to
press.
boomer. Yeah.
Be
COVID
checking our
boomer
cafe
remover.
press, and we'll post everything. Be checking out for that shirt, "Death to Boomers," and
Well,
we'll even let Sean sign his name at the bottom of it. Or
I'll
something.
do it. If anybody wants one, I'll autograph that shit. Hell yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, for my co-host Black Sheep, Manny Hispani, and Ron, I am Money Mike, and this has been the American Idiots Podcast.
Do
Good night,
something
everybody.
better with your $2 million.
There you go.
That I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook.